Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for December 7th, 2021. If everyone could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could, I know it's on for later in the agenda, but I'd like to read a proclamation commemorating today, which was the 80th anniversary of the attacks on Pearl Harbor. Our proclamation reads as follows. Whereas on October 7th, 1941, Japanese forces attacked the United States naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, leading to the United States of America's entry into World War II. And whereas on this date 80 years ago, more than 2,400 Americans lost their lives in this devastating attack, a day which has continued to live in infamy. And whereas it is crucial that we honor those who showed tremendous courage in defense of the timeless truths and great freedoms upon which our nation was founded. And whereas the town of Yorktown, along with the rest of the United States, will always honor the patriotism of the American heroes of the greatest generation. And whereas December 7th, 2021 marks the 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and we honor those American patriots who lost their lives on that fateful day. And whereas may we never forget our moral obligation to defend the freedoms that make our nation so great. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board pause in its deliberations to reflect on the attack on Pearl Harbor and remember the heroes of the greatest generation. Would you all please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. This is a bit of a different meeting since it is the preliminary budget public hearing. I do just want to take a few moments, if I could, however, to just provide another update on COVID-19. Today's numbers, according to the data received from the Department of Health, shows 15 new active cases in the town of Yorktown, with our current active caseload at 186. About an hour ago, it was announced via news outlets that the county executive confirmed the first Omicron case in Westchester County. Yorktown has not been notified that it was here, so we are working under the assumption that there is no Omicron cases in our community. However, the fact that Omicron is now in Westchester County leads us to believe that it is highly likely that it will eventually make its way within our community. As I stated, there are 186 active cases within the town of Yorktown. I want to just put some perspective on that. This time last year, we had 203 active cases on December 4th and 230 on December 8th. We had been in touch with, and we continue to be in touch with, our partners in government, Westchester County Department of Health, our partners in the state government and the federal government. All of our health experts have had predicted spikes beginning since Halloween. Halloween spike, Thanksgiving spike. We are expecting spikes to continue since we just ended Hanukkah, and a happy Hanukkah to all who have celebrated, as well as spikes related to Christmas and the New Year's. Obviously, this has to do with the gatherings. This has to do with, again, being indoors since it's colder out. But I think it's also important to understand the positive impact that the vaccine is having. Countywide, currently, there are 3,408 active cases in Westchester County. There were 283 new cases. According to County Executive Latimer's update that he provided yesterday, we had on December 4th, we had an infection rate of 3.3% and 84 hospitalizations. That hospitalization number is drastically lower than it was this time last year. We also, over the last 4 weeks, unfortunately and sadly, have had 4 deaths due to COVID-19. Those 4 deaths over 4 weeks, and our thoughts and prayers with all those who have lost the battle with COVID-19, but those 4 deaths are dramatically lower than what we saw this time last year. And it's very simple. It just shows that the vaccine is working. The vaccine is reducing the severity of COVID-19, regardless if it's the Delta variant or the Omicron variant, the vaccine is working. There is currently, and the county executive put it into place today, a state of emergency for Westchester County. There are no mandates associated with that at this point in time. We are continuing to communicate directly with the county executive and our partners on the county level, so that if there are any new directives that are handed down, that obviously, as members and residents of Westchester County, we will comply with them. We will continue. The town of Yorktown will continue to provide opportunities for people to be vaccinated, opportunities for people to receive boosters. If there are members of our community who have received their 2 shots, and it's been more than 6 months, health experts are encouraging people to go get a booster shot. If you only had the J&J, the Johnson & Johnson 1 shot, again, experts are encouraging and urging residents to go get a booster shot. If you got the J&J 1 shot, you can get a J&J booster, you can get a Moderna booster, you can get a Pfizer booster. They don't differentiate as to which one to get. Our next booster clinic, we had one today in Shrub Oak at the John C. Hart Memorial Library. And I want to thank our staff who continue to make these things happen. They do a phenomenal job. We had one last week at the Cappellini Center. We had one today. Our next booster clinic will be December 14th at the gym of the Cappellini Center. And on the 16th, we will host another pediatric vaccine clinic for children over the age of 5. There's no mandate. There is no mandate in the town of Yorktown for vaccines. There's no mandate within Westchester County. We did hear from Mayor Bill de Blasio in New York City that he has increased some of the requirements in New York City that are vaccine related. So for those who it affects, here's an opportunity to get your booster. Here's an opportunity for pediatric vaccines to be distributed or received by those who so wish. But I think it's really important that we as a community recognize, and I think this is what the county executive is trying to accomplish, is recognize the fact that our numbers, if you look at the active caseload again, we are pacing with where we were this time last year. The difference is the severity, and the reason for that, again, the vaccine. Westchester County as a whole is at 93% vaccinated, which is a tremendous accomplishment. Something that we should all be very, very proud of supporting and participating if we have. And that in itself is reducing the severity. Now is the time again for us to come together as a community. Now is the time again. I know that we are all tired, and it's ironic that we're talking about this on Pearl Harbor Day of all days. But when you think about sacrifice, when you think about commitment, you think about the trials and tribulations that those before us have gone through. You think of things like World War II, like Pearl Harbor, and I would submit to you that this is our time to overcome a very similar adversity, and it's important to do it together as a community. And so once again, we will continue to provide information as we get it that is verified and accurate, but we are also calling on our community and our residents to be good neighbors, to be respectful neighbors, and to lift each other up, help each other out during this holiday season, and let's show people what Yorktown, once again, is all about. And we've done it before. We lead from the front in this town. We don't back down from a fight, and we're not going to back down now. If anyone has any questions, if they have any concerns, they can always call my office at 914-962-5722, extension 200. You can always email me at mslater@yorktownny.org. I will not pretend to know all the answers, but I will do my best to get the answers that you were seeking. And we do that together collectively by working with our partners in government on the county, on the state, and the federal levels. With that, we will move forward with our preliminary budget public hearing. I do want to introduce, we have Councilman Vishnu Patel, we have Councilman Ed Lachterman, over on the internet via Zoom. We have Councilman Tom Diana. We have with us our Highway Superintendent, Dave Paganelli. We have with us our Town Clerk, Diana Quast. I want to thank our Town Clerk and her staff for setting up this new attempt at a hybrid town board meeting where people can be here in person, or if they wish to participate over Zoom, they are able to do so. You will see on the screen we have a number of individuals that are joining us. I want to thank our department heads who are here with us, either in person. We have some who are in the boardroom with us, or virtually. They are here to answer questions if people have them that may be specific to their individual budgets. But we also have with us, I do want to specifically recognize Pat Caparel, our comptroller, who is with us as well. And I know that she will be answering many of the questions that we may get tonight as it pertains to the budget and the financial health of the town. Yes, Councilman Patel.
Okay, you said it really good thing about the Pearl Harbor. I would like to let the people of the world and the United States also know that what happens in Michigan, the young student, really is the saddest thing for our nation.
Yeah.
So my thoughts and prayer to those four who died and those who are injured and the entire family in Michigan. Our prayers and thoughts are with all of you. That little gun purchased 2 days ago, really 6 hours, unbelievable. My children's, the weapon they had it, you cannot even imagine. They were talking to me like that, really. So let's do something all together and pray for them, those who died. Moment of silence on behalf of the entire town board. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Well said. And with that, we will move to open the public hearing for the budget, the 2022 preliminary budget. I will ask our comptroller. Is she unmuted?
How are we going to go about
Yourself,
it?
Pat?
Are we going to go line by line, or how are we going to? Okay, all right. So whoever the comment, they have it. Okay.
All right, Pat, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, excellent. You got your phone on the holder that was provided by our TV producer?
Yes, I do.
Oh, can I show you something? This was the first budget I attended, and you should know, you should remember all these things. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question. Wonderful day. Nice evening.
Okay. So just as on a high level, and then we'll open it up. But the 2022 budget is a $63 million budget. It protects the historic tax cut that the board achieved and the town achieved last year by proposing a 0% increase in the general highway and library line. It also makes important investments in our environment, in public safety, and the youth of Yorktown. We did provide a public presentation that is still online that residents can continue to view, and that is housed on the town's website, and it does provide very specific details as to what we've accomplished as a community in the past year and what this budget will help us accomplish moving forward. Most importantly, in times that we continue, thank you, and the town clerk is showing us the notice that was published in the paper. But I think in times of uncertainty, which we continue to find ourselves in times of economic hardship, where we continue to see inflation and costs rising and supply chain disruptions, it's I think a responsibility of our government to make sure that our residents can continue to afford to live in a great community, and that's something else that this budget does, I think, help us accomplish. I don't know if any of the board members have anything they want to add.
The stability of the revenue was a problem last year because of the COVID, but we are fortunate that we had more income from the sale tax from the county, And I think is really we should recognize those who did it, and we are all beneficiary, you know. So this is really wonderful things happening and helping us to the town to also manage our finances. May I just ask you something here? I read it today when I come home. Anyone entering the building must have a mask, okay? Everybody should have a mask.
All visitors. For
How do you know, individual didn't come in contact with somebody else? Because, in a go store, something,
Right, that's
I
why
think we should enhance, just enforce. So we are all safe.
all visitors to town hall
Yes.
are required to wear a mask. The CDC guidance also that they've updated says that it's their recommendation that if you are in indoor settings and you don't know the vaccination status of others, that you should also wear a mask. That's not a requirement. That's a recommendation by the CDC. So we are here in the town of Yorktown. When you're coming into town buildings, if you are a visitor to a town building, you are required to wear a mask. And we are taking precautions to make sure that we keep our staff healthy. There are requirements for our staff to make sure that they continue to remain healthy and make sure that town government continues to operate.
Because, I do not know the numbers, the exchange rate of air in the building, do you know the number? Half a filter, cubic feet per minute, like that, because
I
the
don't know
school
the
has
specific
a number,
rate, but
really
I know
good.
that when
Okay?
when COVID first hit, we did work with our staff to upgrade the filters within all of our town facilities.
No, but right now, is the air is moving in and out because it's a heater now, there is no air conditioning.
Right, there's
So
no- there's no
are you sure that we have a
There's no heat there either.
filter here, right here in the town? Nobody should laugh at me because I am a scientist and engineer. Now I'm just telling you, I was in charge of my lab, and it was a submicron particle. I lead my whole life like that, and it is the health and well-being of all the people that's very important to us, you, and your children.
Councilman,
So thank you.
No one was trying to insult you by that. But the answer, I don't know the answer to your specific question, other than the fact that I know that we worked with our staff to make sure that all the buildings had the proper filtration, and actually we enhanced the filtration systems over at the Senior Nutrition Center as they reopened to make sure.
So
that
the heat is coming, is the filter or the air?
So currently there is no heat in the building. That's what Councilman Lackman was laughing at.
No, but the air is coming from somewhere, right? From outside, inside. So is it safe to be in this many people where there is no air circulation? I'm asking that.
Well, right now, since there's no heat, the windows aren't open.
No.
And that's
No,
the
that
exact
is
reason
even
why
worse. The
why
windows are not open, right?
But that's one of the things that that we've been advised to do in these settings, and this is also one of the reasons we've been hesitant on bringing people back to town board meetings like this, right? And this is why we've been going back and forth about whether or not we should stay in a virtual setting, because this way you keep people safe, and that's been one of the many conversations we've had on this whole issue.
No, I'm happy that we are here, okay?
Yeah.
It's very, very important that we are here. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. With that, we will open the public hearing, and if there's anyone who wants to speak on the budget, you can please go to the podium.
Hello, Paul Moskowitz, Yorktown resident.
Hello, Mr. Moskowitz.
Hi, can I take this mask off while I'm speaking?
Yes.
Oh, how nice. Planning board wouldn't let me do that. Thank you. And thank you for pursuing getting everybody in Yorktown vaccinated. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
So, I'll speak on a subject that I may have spoken about before, so it's deja vu all over again. A couple of decades ago, Yorktown took a vote on providing a fund for the purchase of open space. It was structured so that everybody who owned a lot would contribute $30 for each lot. It came to, for the town, it came to about $400,000 a year. With that money, we were able to purchase additional land around Turkey Mountain, and I expect we'll have more trails in the near future. We have also purchased the whole Granite Knolls complex, where we have all the sports fields, as well as smaller properties. So at the time of the hearings on this, I remember my friend Ed Chaffone still here, said, I'm not in favor of this because they'll find a way to take the money away. And in fact, Michael Grace did. What he did was something which I would call nefarious. He set the $30 tax at zero. But rather than let people enjoy a tax break, he raised the general fund tax by $400,000 so that nobody would notice that they were getting a break on the taxes, because they weren't. They were just paying more into the general fund. As a result, we have a minimal balance left in the open space fund, somewhere $100,000 to $200,000. Even $400,000 doesn't buy very much. Over the past several years, there's been a line item in the budgets for $400,000 for capital expenditures. And the previous supervisor, anybody remember him? The previous supervisor said, if we need open space, we've got that $400,000. But that's a fiction, because at the end of the year, it went away. You can't get much land with $400,000. You have to accumulate a couple of $1 million before you can make any worthwhile purchases. So I believe that Michael Grace's strategy at setting the open space tax at zero was a contradiction to the will of the voters, because the open space fund was approved by an overwhelming majority of voters. I think it was over 60,000 to 60% to 40%. So what I am asking the town board to consider is to take that line item of $400,000, put it in the open space fund, and resume the $30 per lot fee for the purchase of open space. We have a lot of land in Yorktown which looks very nice. People say we live in a very nicely treed, if that's the word, forested town. But much of that land is in private hands, and that will be developed sooner or later, or it may be developed sooner or later, and we should be continuing the purchasing of open space. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moskowitz.
Anybody can make a comment from the board now or later.
You can make a comment.
Paul, thank you. Dr. Moskowitz, thank you. You said $30. I like to say price of a one pepperoni pizza lunch for the family. And you may not afford, some maybe, but this is the result happening. Pepperoni pizza price. I was there for a whole week with the lawyer. It was a $2.27 million investment, and $700,000 for $500, whatever it was, it came back. We purchased 200-acre land, and we got $7 million return on an investment. I'm very proud that I spent that time whole week over here. And thank you the entire town, each and every one. That ball field is owned by you, the people, and it is for the people and by the people. So it was a good fortune for our town people and the wisdom of the past people. They invested money and rented out the place because they wanted to give away 1 acre land to their friend, but that did not happen, and I'm very proud of that one. So we were able to get some money from the Spectra, and then they messed it up. They got the cheap contractor engineers. They messed it up the pipe. There is another $3.5 million. We are very lucky. Our town and the wisdom of the past and those who are here to guiding that project, this is the best thing that ever happened, that you invest $2.2 million and you still have a 200-acre land. You did not give away land anybody else. And look at the children, our and tomorrow children. They will enjoy forever. And then look at all the new thing happening now. The solar, like that. And maybe we can improve the road over there too. So it will be even better thing for the safety. Our highway superintendent says, yes, thank you, each and every one. The town belongs to you, the people.
Thank you, Councilman Patel.
I'd just like to say that when this was done, the tax wasn't taken away; it was put to being used. Unfortunately, one of the problems with the open space fund is that there was no mechanism for caring for the open space. So our highway department and our parks department were being overburdened. Our equipment was being, used up, and there was no mechanism to say, hey, this should also go towards the maintenance of this. That's why it was shifted till there was an opportunity to buy open space. And Supervisor Gilbert was absolutely right in saying that if the need arises, we do have money and we can find that open space. But to put the money away to buy open space without having anything in mind, and also not take care of the open space that we have, was creating a ton of issues for our town, and safety issues for people going out and hiking and walking. And I know our highway department has been taking down some trees and trying to do that. That's all expensive stuff. Our Parks and Rec have to go out and mow the grass and take care of things. And we learned this year how much abuse our parks take when we were out of ways to mow. So, it was put right out. There was nothing nefarious about it. I disagree with that. And I think it's important that there's a balance. I love the open space, but I do realize that we have to find a way to fund caring for that open space. It's not appropriate for our town to just have it and then say, well, we really can't afford to do anything about it. So.
And we couldn't. You're 100% right, Ed. It was put in place to care for it, and the employees just weren't there to do it. We don't have enough employees to care for it, and that's all that money was put aside for. And the way it was done was not nefarious. You're 100% right.
Stop agreeing with me, Tom. People are getting nervous.
Oh, geez, I know. I'll have to disagree a little later.
Okay.
So then may I say one more thing? This number, I have it from our, receiver of taxes. So $3.7 million base due, and we don't have that much. What can you not do by having that money? And if you add it up, all that money, the interest, and everything else is $5.34 million. We were able to get some money, and I think there is some money people are paying.
But I think that's delinquent, right? Those
Huh?
are delinquent taxes?
No, these are the back taxes due. Okay.
Right,
Wait,
those
yeah.
are
Yeah,
delinquent
yeah,
taxes.
everything, the whole thing. Okay, this is not the one. But what can you not do if you have the money, So, people have a difficulty, whatever it is, a senior like that. But sometimes you have to wipe out the lien. The property was not worth million, and if there are $1 million, taxes due, then you just wipe it out, and it has been done many, many times. So, last sentence I want to say is, taxes are mandatory contribution and not the volunteer contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else?
Good evening, Susan Siegel. I'm going to follow Paul and thank you for. It's a relief to get it off. Okay. I have just a few very general comments, and then I'd like to talk about some specific line items. On a general note, of course, I'm delighted, along with everybody else, that there's basically no increase in the general fund tax. But I just do want to express some concern about the revenue. Doing a budget is always a guess. It's an estimate, and you use the best information you have, but it's all uncertain. It does seem to me that some of our revenue projections might be high because they're things that we have totally no control over. Sales tax, everyone should go out and shop and buy a lot, and we'll get more sales tax revenue. The mortgage tax is dependent upon what happens in the building industry and housing sales. So we don't know about that. And building fees, we were lucky. Well, some would call it lucky, but we did have, a surge in building fees because of the Lowe's construction and two of the satellite buildings. But I don't know what's on the horizon for 2022. On the expense side, some of our major expenses we don't control, like pensions and medical insurance. And as you show in the budget, they go up. So it's just a note of caution. That's all I can say. But also on a general comment, I'd like to repeat a comment I think I have made for multiple budget hearings, and that's the fact that we need a real one-year capital budget. We don't have that. In the back of the book, there's this capital plan that's nothing more than a wish list, is what it is. And I'm not faulting the expenditures you have made or have not made. I'm just saying there's no plan to look ahead into 2022 and say, these are the 10 projects that we're going to do, and they're going to be funded either by a grant that we're going to go for or from our fund balance. We tend to react like we reacted to the steps at the courthouse police station complex, which has been known for years. And I think it just finally got to a point where you said, you got to do it. But something like that could have been planned. Highway, under drainage, it just says idea, 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 idea. It doesn't say we're going to fix this street, this problem, that problem. And I'm sure, Dave, you have a list of projects, and you could prioritize them, and you could probably ballpark some numbers. And I think at this point, we probably have an idea of what funding may or may not be available, right? And your drainage line says 0, right? So I'm just saying that we have $20 million in our unallocated fund balance, general fund balance, 61% of our general fund budget. I think from past audit presentations, the auditors have said 15 to 20% of your budget is a good, healthy figure. We are way, way over that. I'm not complaining. I think it's great. But let's spend the money that we have, because we have a long, long list. And I think as homeowners, we tend to know that when we put off some projects, the issue only gets worse and ends up costing more. So let's do that. And I urge you to take a close look, not to this board, but the new board, and 2 of you will be there, and Mr. Diana, to really take a look early on in your term in the year and start planning a one-year capital budget, a budget, what you're going to do, and then a realistic 5-year plan. You can use what you have in the back of the budget book as a guide, but it's a wish list. So let's get more specific. Then I'd like to talk about some specific line items. There are 2 parts of the budget that have increased what I would generally call communications. One is in the town board's portion of the budget, the increased use of fees to provide the videoing. I have no objection to that. I think it's great, and I thank the past board for taping work sessions of town board meetings, and I think it was this year that you started taping the planning board work sessions, and you've done the senior committees and other special events, and obviously COVID, and I think that's a great way to spend town money. But I do have some questions about page 34 in the supervisor's budget, the $60,000 for communications to hire Thompson and Bender to basically do press releases. Now, the supervisor said at one of the budget meetings that having Thompson and Bender do these press releases, quote, increases the efficiency of town operations. I would like somebody to explain how having Thompson and Bender writing a press release saying that the planning board just approved the XYZ development increases the efficiency of the town. I also note that the library has done an excellent job of putting together weekly items in the Yorktown News showing their programs for the week. And the library staff is doing that. We're not having a PR person do that. We're not paying somebody to do that. We have a very talented staff in many of our departments. And I think possibly with a little bit of guidance, if they feel shy about writing a press release, I mean, there are goodness knows how many guides to doing a press release online. But Thompson and Bender could sit down with a group of department heads and instruct them for a one-time thing, and we don't have to spend $60,000 on that. And also tied in with that, I think taxpayers would welcome an update on the money that we've spent for Destination Yorktown. Many months ago, we had a presentation by Thompson and Bender, and they had a very impressive presentation about the number of click-throughs, on the website. I'd like to know exactly what new development there has been in Yorktown as a result of Destination Yorktown. Okay. On page 44, I'd like to call your attention to the contingency capital expenditure line of $350,000. And this, I'd like to elaborate on some of the comments that Paul made and some of your comments. We've always had in the budget a $100,000 contingency line because you never know what's going to come up, and that was reasonable. But the $400,000, or now reduced to $350,000, was basically taking that $30 open space money and parking it someplace. All right. This year, according to the latest report I had from the comptroller, we've spent $155,000 of that, which with $20 million in the fund balance easily could have come from that. So what I'd like to suggest is you take it out of the expense item, you take it out of the tax revenue item, there's no impact on the taxes, and you put that back in the $30, you put it back in the $30 open space fund where it was supposed to be. Now I'd like to also comment on what Councilman Lachman and Councilman Diana said about the origins of this. First of all, Paul and I both have relatively good memories, even though I'm a little bit older, but I don't think I'm at the dementia stage yet. When that change was done by Supervisor Grace and Councilman Lachman and Diana were on the board, that change was made after the public hearing was closed. It came as a total surprise to the public, who had no way of commenting because it was a done deal. So if the two of you are going to use the term nefarious, I think nefarious belongs to you because of the way it was done. As far as the fact that, we can't maintain the land, we can't mow, we don't have enough staff to mow. I don't think you're mowing 343 acres at Sylvan Glen. I don't know how many acres Turkey Mountain is, but I don't think you're mowing grass there, okay? Some of this open space acquisition is not meant to be mowed. It's just to stay as open space. And if you are so concerned about the limitations of the law, then go back to Albany and ask them to change the law so you have a little bit more flexibility. So I urge you to make that change and go back to what the voters of Yorktown wanted. Put that $30 where it rightly belongs. And when you have expenditures, again, $20 million, you bought equipment for the Parks Department. I'm not challenging that. It was a worthwhile expenditure. You spent about $21,000 on the 9/11 memorial. That's fine, okay? But take it out of fund balance if it was an unexpected thing. Could somebody answer, either Supervisor or Caparel, on page 28, there's a $15,000 expense for public education grants. I'd just like to know what that is, either what we got in 2021 or what you're anticipating for 2022. On page 45, Town Hall Security, this is in the police budget, $7,500 for police overtime to have a policeman. There is one, probably out in the hall. Okay. I have been attending town board meetings on a regular basis since at least 2008. I do not recall one single incident where there was any concern of any.
I recall 3 offhand.
Well,
And Susan, you don't wait. Security, do not wait till you have a problem. I'm sorry. You don't even need to go any further. You do not wait till you have a problem.
All right.
For the safety of our people in the town, our taxpayers, and of the board members, you do not wait. Oh, we should have had someone. We'll put someone there now.
Well,
not
I'd
the
like
way
to
it
have.
works.
I'd like then to. Let me just continue. I'd like to have it.
For putting that up, Ed and Susan, and you disputed it back then, because in the way this world is today, I will not risk anyone's life in any meeting to have somebody walk in and not be protected, and you never know. So it's better to be proactive than go, I woulda, shoulda, coulda for that expense. Thank you.
That there were 3 incidents, and I have no recollection of incidents.
I made the comment.
You made
He didn't.
okay. And I would like to have and please feel free to contact me after the hearing offline about what those incidents are, because I either you take 7,500 out of the budget, or you use it for other things. Improve the town planters that beautify Commerce Street, because you've cut that budget line. Buy more books for the buy more books for the library. Okay, get more
Susan, we are
equipment for
not
some
going to cut
departments.
security for our town.
All right, but
Not
I would
gonna
appreciate.
happen.
I would appreciate.
Not going to happen.
I would appreciate your getting back to me. Okay, regarding what.
There were a few incidents in the back of the room that almost came to blows. At least.
Oh, I
3.
remember.
Okay, so now you remember. So.
Oh,
maybe-
one. I remember
There
one,
were
and
at
it was an
least 3.
exaggerated thing, and he sued the town. I remember that one.
At
Okay,
least 3.
I remember.
recall.
Okay. On page 44, taxes on town property. I don't recall, I could be mistaken, has the town acquired more property in 2021? The reason I'm asking is that in 2020 and 2021, it was the taxes, and I assume they've all been paid, were roughly $12,000 and change. So why in 2022 is the budget for $50,000? That's a lot of additional property that you've acquired. Okay, I won't begin to say maybe that's a place where there's a little padding in the budget. You know, I was supervisor once. I did budgets. I know all about padding. Did I hear a snicker someplace? All right. Okay. And then when you have padding, it's very nice to say when the auditor comes how well we did, because we generated so much surplus and we didn't spend all the money that we planned to spend. We did such a good job. Pardon my cynicism. I've been to too many budget hearings, and I'm not accusing you of anything, all right? Yorktown Sewer. Although I'm not in the sewer district, and the Halleck's Mill Sewer District anymore, I am always concerned about that one. Page 105, I&I. It shows that nothing was spent on 2020 in 2021 unless there's an updated number. Now, I know you had changes in the personnel at the engineering office, and that could be a problem, but you're still only budgeting $20,000 in 2022. I don't know what the costs are, but I know that the doing an I&I is very critical to getting that upgrade in the speedies permit. So I wonder why that's not there. And on the same general issue, on page 106, special projects and professional services, again, I don't know that there's adequate money there. I'm sorry, but I don't have my budget book, and I didn't put it in my notes, whether it's zero or you've reduced the amount. And again, the pump station upgrades that are being planned, which, again, are vital.
Those are a separate line.
So, okay, I urge you to do that. Also, I noticed on tonight's resolutions, even though this is only a budget hearing, you are doing other business, $10,000 to pay for a town historian. I have 2 questions. 1, where in the budget is that money? And 2, creating a new committee. When was that discussed at an open meeting, the need for a committee? And when was there an open invitation to people to submit resumes to be on that committee? So I'd like that explained. If I may indulge you, can I ask if this Zoom meeting works out, this hybrid, and I thank you for doing that, can it be arranged for next week for the December 14th meeting, even though it's advertised for the gym through public notices and the newspaper, that you at least let people know that it's be available on Zoom? Thank you very much. Sorry if I took too much time, but I do read the budget.
Very clearly. Thank you, Ms. Siegel.
Can I say something here? Maybe it's a question for the controller. I didn't see the number, any money for having a camera, at the town. Okay. No, but okay, all right. I did. Sometimes, if it's in a different line item and all that.
Cameras for town hall. That was your.
Oh, okay, all right. No, because this was
Is that your
discussed like
question?
5-7 years ago, and we had a lot of money at that time. So thank you for telling me that. Okay.
I believe, Pat, you there?
The page number.
I didn't hear Vishnu's question, I'm sorry.
About cameras for town hall, was that in the Capitol?
It would be, yes.
Okay, because we don't know how it is written. It is budget is a lot of number.
And Pat, we actually went through and revised the capital budget, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, we did.
So
We tried to make this a lot more factual.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I remember that correctly.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any summary at the end of the book somewhere? New things and addition, deletion like that, because supposed to be one page summary. I have asked for since 20
for
years.
what? For the entire budget?
The entire budget, yes. One you cannot go through look it up in here because there's too many pages and too many numbers, and you'll find
No,
out.
there-
So
No, there is
Yeah.
not a one-pager.
summary, but it's very
summarize
important
the
to
budget.
have it like
What we did do was we did provide a video introduction of the budget to the public, which is also available online, where we actually walk through the high points of the budget, which I think is a little bit better than just a one-page summary. There's also a
But
think there's also an introductory letter.
this is the real document, and
Right.
you have to have at the end reference. It is done in every book, every technical journal, budget, this way you look it up.
Yeah,
And
there's not
this
a
way
summary.
we save a lot of time.
I mean, also the other summary page. I mean, there are summary pages and charts and graphs that are provided by the staff that if they're not if they're not something that are useful to people, we can eliminate. I mean, I know that the staff
No, but
would-
look, the one I had it
appreciate
over
that,
here,
but-
I was showing you,
You know,
that
there's also things, there's the fund balance by category. There's a lot of information.
let me
there.
tell you, this one,
Oh, that's right. Here,
10
right?
years
I think you're
ago-
talking- thank you, Pat. I think it's this one you're talking about, right? The major changes to expenditures. That's
Yeah.
right here on page 13.
but each year things are presented slightly different. And those who have never been to the town hall and they complain about the budget and how they know, if we have to, that's why, look at here.
But that's here too.
This is the percentage wise and that is the dollar wise. This is very
No.
different,
Hold on one second. Excuse me, Councilman.
I have
Excuse
been
me,
to
Mr.
12
Sapone, I know you're
budget. This
standing
one
there.
is a 12,
Oh, but Councilman, I'm not denying that. But not only did we provide the same pie chart, which is right there in your budget book that you have open,
No, but one
But-
is
but it's the same
differently
pie chart.
presented
but
than
not
the
only,
other.
not only did we do that, but we actually provided a new way for people to understand the impact of their taxes based on where they live.
Yeah, but that's already known that Lake London School District. Some of the senior
this is not
citizens
by school district.
cannot read these things. The
this isn't
numbers
by-
are so small, and you will find out when you get to my age.
But this isn't by school district.
I
This
I
is by
understand what
different
you
areas of
try to
town. This one's
do.
Sparkle Lake. This one's Jefferson Valley, based on someone who lives in the Osceola Sewer District. This one's in Mohegan Lake. So it actually shows you the breakdown based on where you live. So it actually makes it easier. But the
But
pie
you know,
chart is in
if
as
there
well.
is a combined number here, that $23 million, and then you can see percentage, you can figure out. So before they used to put the dollar amount in the back. So it changes, it confuses the people. I mean,
No,
let me
I-
just say something
I
really
hear
good
you.
now.
I
May
hear
I
you-
say
I hear
something
you
good?
wholeheartedly.
We should be all proud. There are not too many people here to criticize our budget.
I-
And then don't complain during the year round. If you are not here, come here. Thank you.
Thank you,
You gotta have a little
Councilman.
entertainment here, right?
You always do. Yes, you provide. And by the way, yes, there is the pie chart that you were holding up. That's
Yeah,
still.
but is it a number, or percentage, or a
it's
dollar
the same
amount?
one that you have there. It's the percentage breakdown.
Okay, all right. But
It's the same exact.
but these percentages are different because
Yeah.
the amount is very different now. You know,
Well, this is
Okay.
from 2010.
that's what I was comparing.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. I just wanted to make the point that we're still providing the information with updated data.
I like to
So
see
that
the
hasn't
summary.
changed
I
too
can
much.
tell you that.
Yeah.
And then nobody will ask you the question why the taxes went up because
It's
you
all in here.
spend more. Well, they don't. keep
Including a page that shows you the major expenditure differences. What was that, Pat? Page 16.
The page 13 is the changes.
Thank you. So page 13 even says in big letters, major changes to expenditures, and it shows you the 21 adopted, the 22 tentative, and the difference. So
No,
it,
no, I
it,
have
it
that
is
one.
in there, yeah.
I have this number. I read it many, many times, and I even highlighted all of them. But
Yep.
it's just that makes it very easy
No,
for us.
and I think we're always looking for ways to make it simpler for people to understand. I hear exactly what you're saying. So
Because if somebody tell you the why $3 million or $2 million up summary, that listen, these things are, we needed more money. If you don't have money, you can't do anything.
Right.
And look at our highway superintendent. He got little money. He made a lot of repair on the road. Thank you.
he did a good job. Mr. Safone,
All right.
please, thank you. Yes, please. We apologize.
Awesome.
Oh, you gotta have a mask now, okay? Oh,
He's got it right there.
no, I'm
He's
just
got it right there.
kidding
He's
you,
okay.
okay?
Fine, Ed.
Now, I can't work at the court because of the mask.
No, I know your health.
Okay, my doctor said I couldn't work
Okay.
with or without the mask until they change something.
It's good to see you, Mr. Safone.
Listen, it's great to see you. Now, thank you for a 0. Thank you for a minus .88 for last year. But let me start this way. Mrs. Siegel, a guy came up to the podium with his fist like this to hit me at a board meeting. It wasn't for the cops that were there to walk me out. So I'm just telling you one. The same guy stopped me from leaving and charged me with a crime that I threatened his family and him at a board meeting. But I'm just saying it's the same guy. Okay? So it's necessary to have people like you say, okay? I'm a police officer. And then I'm a veteran, so thanks for
Thank you for your
7.
service.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Now, I wasn't born yet, but I just had a birthday. So, 1943, so
Today
41,
was your birthday.
December 5th.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy-
My friend Mark is a 6th and his wife is a 4th, so you're sort of sandwiched right in between.
So now it's 78, getting closer to 100. And with all these different things that happen, okay, let's do the budget. Now, again, Mrs. Siegel, $20 million in unassigned fund balance. There's a guy named Don Roberts and myself. We come here for like 10 years. And we asked each supervisor, Sue Siegel, Grace, Lanny, that the state says 15% is the positive. They're not 61%, not 50%, okay? Now, we wanted to have a policy to that effect. Maybe, I don't understand, I know some people could care less how much they have in fund balance. Now, there's a secret that the town board used is to make projects up, use the fund balance for that category, and then never do it. So you went from 20 million to 2 million maybe, but I haven't seen that yet. Now, I only got this budget this morning, but I had the auditor's report.
Mm-hmm.
It has the same $20 million. That's a lot of money. Now, if you look at everything, all the employees got a raise. Some got a big raise. I've been doing this like for over 10 years, okay? I had to sue the town for a quarter, okay? Now, I had to take him to the civil rights. I lost. Division of Human Rights, okay? Now, I know the judge who told them that I couldn't get with the equal pay for the equal time. Now, he's leaving. Now, in January, maybe you could see that you were going to pass all this stuff for all these employees. I'm just letting you know that I come down with a disease, a babesiosis. They hired 5 guys to do my job. I went from 2 days a week to 1 day a month. They get paid more. So anyway, I did my thing. I lost the case. It's mainly because of whatever reasons. Okay, now let's get back to the budget. Now, are you going to leave this $20 million? Because in the orders report, December 31st has $20 million. In this budget, it has the same thing, $20 million. What are you going to do for the people in Yorktown? Now, you're going to give money away, you're going to give projects. Can you give a reasonable amount to lower taxes? If it's $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, you even gave the highway department $1 million. They have a surplus already, and now you added to their surplus. So it was 2.3 million. I know, but anyway, it's good.
He gave it to me. Gave it to the taxpayers.
I understand. What you have to use it, okay? But I've been up here so many times. All I do is ask how to give money back to the people. In the past, there was over $5 million unpaid taxes by certain people. So we bring that up every year. So listen, I'm just asking you, Supervisor, when you finish this budget, if you could get something, a reduction somehow for the people, or giving it back to the people, no matter how much you spend, if you're going to spend the same or give the same amount of money back to the people. And that's all I'm here for, because that 15%, now let me get this straight. Susan Siegel retired from being supervisor in 2011, $2.4 million. Michael Grace retired from being supervisor with $10.7 million fund balance. Lanny Gilbert retired with $11.2 million. And now you got $20 million. What's going on here? The state, now Lanny went to the state and they said, this is what we're teaching you, this is what it should be, okay? Do something about it. That's the main thing I want them to do, okay? I see all the employees, and many of them deserve raises. I tried stopping it sometimes when the raise was over $20,000. I even tried to stop it when people were retiring. You gave them a raise, so that goes into their retirement system, okay? But I think I said enough, because I have never been up there, but I've been over here many times. And over the years, there was $100,000 that she was talking about in contingency. It's never used. Because we come up there, we used to go line by line and say, listen, this is where you could save money. Why do you have this and why that? I'm not going to do that tonight. But I said my thing. I just hope the town board listens to what I say and see if we can reduce the budget somehow, or at least make sure that the people pay their taxes, okay? Because the rest of us, okay? And the last thing, what's $10,000 for historian? Well, what is that about? Can I ask what that is? What's a historian for?
Town historian.
We have a museum.
Right, but we don't have a town historian.
We need a town historian. Okay, but $10,000. Okay. And the other one was Bender and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Is that communications? What do they do? Maybe I should ask a question. What do they do? What do they get paid? $60,000?
Mm-hmm.
Was that it?
Yes, they're on contract for $60,000.
For what?
They do communications for the town. It's an operational aspect of good government.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm going to sit down. I said my piece, and don't understand sometimes when you give jobs to people or people that are retiring, you give them a raise for their retirement, and stuff like that. So, okay, I'm done. 20. Let me ask you this question: out of $20 million from December 31st to now, how much you got in the fund balance? Do you know?
I mean, it changes based on almost the day.
Right. Right, but sometimes you spend it, like I said.
Yeah.
The town
we have
board
to.
allocates it for something,
Yeah.
and sometimes they allocate the whole thing.
Right. I mean, look, I think we've
Well,
allocated
Hicken Avenue Wall, $1
$1
million.
million.
Yeah.
There's, let me just check here.
So the thing is, too,
Looking to see what we've spent in 2021 out of the fund balast?
Just, I guess, an idea of what.
Yeah, Pat.
What are you spending, right?
Page 28,
Page 28,
second line down.
second line down.
Page 28,
Second line down.
Fund balance.
Fund balance.
Column that says adjusted 21 budget.
Yep.
Yep.
We've spent 2,678,273.64 to date. So you're down to about 17 million if you're using the auditor's figures, close of business 2020.
okay, now, where do you get the money that's there? We stand up here for every year you go. You have an increase in revenue and a decrease in spending. And we say that every year. And the same thing happens.
But I think you're making it sound a lot simpler than it is, because fact of the matter is, several and people who have sat here or on this dais know there are several funds, and you can't put general fund money into the sewer fund. You can't put general fund money into the water department.
Right.
So you make it sound much more simpler than it actually is, because
when the revenues come in, if you got the revenue page,
Mhm.
you got sales tax, you got more people buying houses for I'm starting to talk too much now. Okay.
No, it's okay.
But that, that's what we see every year. Okay? So why does the revenue go up? You see the sales tax, our county executive raised sales tax as soon as he got in there. We get sales tax. It all depends on where the sales tax go. Peace Corps got millions of dollars. Because of what their standard, whatever you call the...
No, they got the downtown revitalization money from the state of New York, $10 million.
Well, that was something else. But they also take a share of
The sales
tax, sales tax.
Right.
Okay.
Every municipality does.
All right, so let me just sit down because I'm getting tired here. All right, so I wish that you could do something, either recover the money that the people don't pay their taxes. If the rest of us pay taxes, and it's okay.
The problem with that, Mr. Sifone,
Every year we used to come up.
Yep.
I used to go down to the office.
Yep, I know.
And used to see what the tax. So, do you know offhand what the unpaid?
Not off the top of my head, sir, but
Okay.
the court.
I tell you, as of today, 3.7 million, 3.71.
But the problem is
that's the base, and then 5.34 million is the total due with the interest and all that.
Right.
And the real problem is, suppose there is a house or some property, and if not upkept or somebody die or whatever, family issue, the value of the property is less than the money owed. So what do? You wipe it out.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. So, there is always a big problem like that. And these monies are not the voluntary contribution, it's not the donation. It is a mandatory contribution by law.
Right.
So there is a big difference, and we have to let the educated people know,
Yep.
because the mercy doesn't come in here,
Of course, there's a penalty on interest.
yes,
also.
there is, but it's also important to know. And our town attorney, Adam, are you there? Yes.
Yes.
For how long now has the court frozen tax lien proceedings due to COVID?
We're going on 2 years almost.
We're going on 2 years.
Yeah.
But there's
So
some of them.
in that excuse me, Councilman Patel. In that sense, our hands are actually tied because we can't even bring those individuals to court
Right.
because the courts are not hearing these cases. So
Yes.
I just again, You make it sound very simple, and I wish it was.
It was simple for all these years.
I know.
Okay?
But
It's always increased.
Pre-COVID, it was a much simpler, pre-COVID. There's no doubt about it. But I'm just telling you that since I've been here, the courts are not even hearing these cases.
Oh, for that, yeah, okay.
For the back taxes. So it's not that we're not. It's not that it's not being,
right, I understand.
a focal
we
point.
got back
It's that,
some money 1 or 2 years ago. I can't remember what.
right. Yes,
People
we did.
wasn't paying taxes even on the one on Route 60.
Yeah, and Adam, I think wasn't there a case that we did get for back taxes last year? I think it was like
$800,000 got on.
Well, we've collected hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars through those proceedings and back taxes.
Let me say hello to Frank.
Irrespective
Howie,
of the.
Happy Hanukkah. I'm sorry I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
But since 2005 to 2017, there was no COVID there, okay?
No,
So,
no.
So,
There was
but
not
there are
COVID
more money because there are some larger amount of money for some business people, something for whatever reason, nobody said anything, and he's a sick. No. That's why, if you own the land, you have a right to build and right to make a profit. Okay, but then this kind of situation comes in, and we absorb the loss. Millions of dollars.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So somebody has to speak out.
Okay, so
I don't think there's any disagreement. It's just a
made
lack of a mechanism.
I made a speech last year that I'm retiring after 30 years.
No, you're not.
I wanted to look for somebody to
you're
take
not.
over.
I'm not letting you retire.
So
Listen,
can I
you
just say something?
You can't argue with no increase, but I'm going to argue with no increase because you have so much extra money. Yes, Vishnu.
May I just the entire community? This is the question. You say the fund balance went up. It's a good fortune for all of us together. But when we purchased the land for $2.2 million, or actually 2.7, but we got it back. That investment made $7 million profit because first phase of the pipeline 3.5, and they mess it up. They hired a cheap contractor. That money increased our fund balance, and also we used to be leak every time it rain came in here. I used to mop this carpet. So this thing is
The next
done
one we're
now.
fixing is the
This
rec
thing is
building.
done now. It's really nice. They have a generator. 10 years ago was a return. I have with me here. I don't want to say anything. So generators here. So this is the investment made with the money we had it.
But you hire people and pay them money to do a job. All I'm saying, the last thing I say, if they do the job is one thing. But if you're paying $60,000 for communication, they got to have something in writing for the people saying, this is what we did.
They do.
Oh, they do? Okay, then I'll be foiling that then and see what's going on.
Feel free to foil it. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
that's
the fact
good.
of the matter is, you're not going to get me to back down from it. And fact of the matter is, communications is a modern requirement for functional operations. People like to know. To your point, what are we spending our taxpayers on? And I think it's unfair, and it's an unfair expectation of some people to say, well, someone in the office can do it. Fact of the matter is that they can't because they don't have the skill set. Number one, and someone might think it's a teachable skill set. Fact of the matter is, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that in this case it is, because not everyone can write the way that they need to write. But I think that the importance of it, though, is they do help us get the word out about the direction we're bringing the town, about how we're spending people's tax dollars, about the accomplishments we've made.
Okay, so
and
you think it's good? So okay.
I think it's absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. And one more thing, if I could say on this, while the library does have an abundance of staff, departments like the planning department have 3 people. So I think it's quite the unfair comparison to make between the library and the planning department. Because fact of the matter is, I think also that when you look at either the planning department or any of our departments, they all work very, very hard. They all are very committed to their skill set. And I think it's also about time management, efficiency, effectiveness. And it's not just about the ability to put words together in a sentence. It's much bigger than that. And if you look at organizations and operations both in the public and private sector, a communications apparatus is crucially needed in this modern day and age.
Okay.
As long as they report,
As long as it's performing,
bipartisan way,
and that's it. Okay, listen, I'll sit down.
Yeah, no, and you can sit, Mr. Safone. I'll just, it's funny because when I came in today, I found a letter in my box. Unfortunately, it's unsigned, but it's someone talking about the fact that there's no shopping in Yorktown. But what we have been doing, and they sort of brush over it, where we have the Destination Y program that's been running through Thompson and Bender in conjunction with our Chamber and Small Business Association to highlight these businesses, to try to bring them. They said, well, there's no one here. Where can you shop for the holidays? And it was actually quite nasty. Like, Councilman Lachman, where are you taking your wife shopping? And I could find 8 places just in the mall that my wife likes to go to, with crystals and things that she buys as gifts. And for entertainment, our restaurants with bars, the Yorktown stage. There are so many different areas. You have the virtual reality place. So you have a lot of different opportunities that people don't know about if we don't communicate it. And that's part of the problem in Yorktown. And when you look, and I think Ms. Siegel
Shop
brought up
local.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
Yeah. And Ms. Siegel brought up a point about I lost my train of thought. But it was with the Destination Y. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
But piggybacking on what Ed said, I mean, I love going around town and showing people what's here because I get, I didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
And you need people to help project it outside, to a wider audience. And so whether it's a shop local initiative that we're happy to bring back to the forefront, whether it's a marketing campaign to make the town more attractive and desirable, whether it's talking about the playground improvements that we've made. All those things are all important functions of the operation.
But you do have a report, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Because you have a report that shows
Absolutely.
that they're doing something.
And they do,
Absolutely.
They do presentations on anything they're bringing in. They've been very, very responsive to the town questions. Actually, the point was, she said, what has been brought in by Destination Y? And unfortunately, it's probably not 100% measurable, but I look at the fact that now the Cablevision building is booked out.
Right.
We
filled Kia.
Yeah, we filled the Kia. People see these things happening, and that Yorktown is doing things not only for residents but for businesses and working as a community, and that's bringing people to town. We're filling spaces. We have people moving to bigger locations. I know the supervisor.
But it's even more practical. Let's not forget that we're living in the world of COVID. So when we do have things that we need to get out to the community that are emergency related, we don't have honestly. And
but to me,
some people may not
left,
agree, but time management's
Sears left, and the dollar store.
Those are all national brands.
Dollar store is $1.26.
But those are all national brands.
Right, and it's not just Yorktown that they've left.
But can I say something?
That's what I'm saying. It was all across the country that they saw
Let
this.
me just say,
It's your job. I come on every once in a while.
Mr. Safone, we appreciate it.
No,
We always appreciate your feedback.
I always enjoy talking with you, Ed. You know that. So
okay, great.
And
I appreciate it.
It's looked at, but I do think that it's important to bring that up, not just for you, but for the community.
To the community.
On what these things are.
Yeah, because they had a thing called 85B. Is that
485B?
485.
Yes.
Let's not get into that. But anyway, sometimes people get breaks for a lot of years, so they should look into that too. That
I don't think that would be their role, though, to look into.
Right, but they should tell you that.
Thompson, but that's not their role.
After 5 years now, that
But
84B is up. So now they're supposed to be paying 50% of their taxes.
No. What happens, it starts year one.
Okay.
So if you do improvement and your taxes go up.
Right, only 50%.
So let's use simple numbers to use. Say your tax goes from $10 a square foot to $20 a square foot. You don't get a break on your taxes that you were paying. You get a break on that extra tax now that you're supposed to pay.
Increase.
So the first year, the increase comes in at 50%. So now you're paying $15 a square foot. then it adds back 5% each year until
Okay.
you're back
Listen,
to
all I'm as a
scratch.
taxpayer,
Yeah.
when I see these things come up, we all pay taxes. We all have to pay taxes.
Yep.
So we don't catch a break once in a while. That's why I asked tonight, with $20 million, give us a break.
Well, the more
Find some-
businesses we have, Ed, you know that the better it is for our tax base, and it'll help the residential taxes
Oh,
if
yeah.
we have more paying into the pot.
Right, so
That
it also said, it says value of the town has gone up.
Right.
So that must mean that more houses are being built, or bigger houses are being built, so.
Thank you, Mr.
see-
All right, can I just say one word when you are done? Okay, may I say? Okay.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask Pat a question.
Ed, another thing is, nobody has discussed here, but many of the things now people buy online. That include if you are a senior citizen and you don't have a car, it's better to order it and they deliver the milk, grocery. If you don't like it, take it back. No question. You don't have to stay in the line. These things are getting very popular.
Right.
Popular, very,
And if those ships don't come out of the water,
Right.
Ah,
Right.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
yeah,
I
exactly.
hope you get
Oh,
your
Happy New Year.
present.
Thank you.
Get well soon. Be well, okay?
Yeah,
Be safe.
Anyone else speak for public hearing?
Well, can I
Anybody
can I
online?
just say something to people?
Okay, you wanted to say something there, Counselor?
No, at the end, I want to say to those who are here.
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. We appreciate everyone's feedback. All right. You want to?
You want to?
Well, Daniel, you want to speak next?
Yeah, sure. Both Paul Moskowitz and Susan Siegel had brought up the $3 open space tax. I'm the chair of the open space committee, and we have sort of a long list of possible places to purchase, but the real estate market is always willing seller issues, and so there's always a long negotiation time on making any particular purchases. There's one that's sort of pending now. There's not sufficient money in the open space fund to pull that off if it happens this year. And so I think that's a budget issue. One of the other things that was mentioned, and I agree with, that the state law that spends it only on the actual purchase price of the property is a little bit too restrictive. And it probably would be wise to negotiate with the legislature to modify that so that it can cover some things. For instance, I don't think they could even pay for doing a appraisal of the property, which is sort of a precondition for finding out the right price to pay. So that that's something the committee could undertake, is suggesting some improvements to that, to the actual law, so that it could be more flexible. But that likely takes a year to pull something like that off. So again, I urge you to find ways of funding some of that so that we have enough money to buy some properties occasionally. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels.
Go ahead, Mr. Frank.
Hi, I wanted to comment on the capital money going into the Capellini and the theater. There is a $100,000 grant, I was told by Pat, that's coming from the college authority, the university authority, or some state organization. Anyway, that $100,000, I've said that to many a show, many a meeting, many a debate there. I never seen a broken seat. The only broken seat that turn up is when they have a day camp there. The kids are jumping on the furniture. I would like somebody to take a count and actually see how many broken seats you have, and have a dozen different ways to spend that $100,000 at the Capellini Center, and particularly the auditorium. Going back to Nancy Elliott, supervisor, she put the orchestra pit in. That orchestra pit can be enhanced a little bit so you can bring in a orchestra even, or put proper speakers in there. But going on beyond the orchestra pit, the heating and ventilation system, that was put in about 10, 15 years ago. I believe the compressors were in place once. But to bring that system up to energy compliance, right now you have big steam coils, and it's a big drag on these new boilers that you're putting in just to heat that space. I think you have like 20 or 30,000 square feet of space on that side of the building, even with the nutrition center. The most efficient way these days, with our cost of electricity that we're paying to the power authority, is to put heat pumps in, or at least put one supplementary heat pump in, so you don't have to run the air conditioning to its top performance. It'll work better. Furthermore, to save a lot of fuel with the price of oil going up, one heat pump with a roof cut, or even hooking it into the existing beyond the steam coils, will save a lot of money. Nicer and the power authority, I believe they'll give you a free estimate, and maybe you can even, since Pat is so good at grants, I think take a couple of pictures of the antique type of heating system with the steam coils. I think you get an easy grant for putting heat pumps in. Heat pump doesn't supply any real load on the system because you already have plenty of electricity there from the air conditioner. You don't have to run feeds. Furthermore, it'll save on the power bill. Going beyond the back to the auditorium seats, I would like to see you amend that grant. Maybe you can get a little bit extra. Ask them to come down and do a site visit and see the condition of the building. I understand they're working on the rooms. One of the problems is you're like the sinking in a mechanic ship. You're arranging the beach chairs, the sun chairs, when the ship is sinking. The last time I was at the auditorium there, I did notice a couple of small roof leaks. I was wondering if they were intended to. So rather than have roof water dripping on new seats, I think the roof should have the first priority. And speaking with Pat, they did put a better roof drain system in Town Hall. Actually, it was Alice Roker. I showed her the sketch on this type of roof drain that does not freeze, and it goes into beyond the slab of the roof. So you may have to put that type of drain in, and it'll preserve the roof because it's down deep, and the water cannot get underneath the fabric or the insulation, which is a big job. So once again, I think that $100,000 should be enhanced with the capital money. That there was nothing in there, I believe, for the center. We have a great producer there, and by building up the confidence of that building, I think it'll bring more people. But on a hot summer night, they've sold out many a ticket, and the air conditioning really needs an improvement. So I hope we consider that, and have a happy holiday, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Frank.
you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy Hanukkah.
Good to see you.
I think you have to address this volume problem.
What?
Quick comments. I just, as far as the marketing goes, in this day and age, I will tell you, I agree 100% with the supervisor. You really need it. It's a necessary thing. Now, you could do it yourself, but I will tell you that it is very difficult. For anybody who has tried to put up a Facebook post and target market people in Yorktown or people in Peekskill or people in the surrounding areas, it is almost impossible to get it right. And if you don't get it right, then the money that you are spending is a waste. It really is a skill set, and it really, really is time consuming. I do a lot, almost all of the marketing in tandem with Nancy Stingone for the chamber, and it takes so much time it's not just a simple thing like writing a letter, press release, and sending it off in an email to Brian Marshauser or something like that. It takes a lot more, and it's something that towns need to be doing if they want to stay ahead of the curve. As far as the improvements with the Yorktown stage, that's exactly what we should be doing if we really want to truly revitalize, our town's business districts. Because our town's business districts are suffering. Maybe we could use some of the money. I think this was an idea that Alice had. Some of the money from the fund balance to help upstart businesses. Come to town, brick and mortar only, brand new businesses, not somebody that's already in Yorktown. The money would be allocated or some kind of a help. Maybe we could do some kind of a program that can educate our local businesses to take advantage of the Amazon effect and maybe sell some of their products online. Maybe it's appropriate for some, maybe it's not appropriate, but maybe we could do some education, things like that. I think the budget, this year's budget, there's very little movement that you can make on it. You're holding the line on taxes. I think it's clear. I mean, for anybody who reads a budget, budgets just, are generally very large and, packed with numbers. So they are hard to understand, especially if you haven't done it in the past. But to Vishnu's point, but the budgets, the numbers are there and it's clear. And there's summary pages and someone can sit through if you want and read, very scintillating stuff, which will take you hours and hours and hours to truly understand it. And I think the town has provided the information to everyone involved so they can truly understand it. And tonight is the time when you come in and you ask questions. But as far as, again, going back to the marketing thing with Thompson and Bender or whoever, it is extremely time consuming and it's an art. And I think that's exactly what the town should be doing, especially in this day and age. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Esposito.
Any other comments? Yes.
I'd like to address something and respond to something that Mr. Sifone said about using the fund balance to bring down the taxes. I think, Ed, you'll agree that we've had this disagreement forever. Forever, okay. Ed and I...
Before we started having police officers at town board meetings?
That far back.
We have been the regulars, and I miss Don Roberts. I hope he's well. Okay. And I think, and I say thank you to this board and one or two previous boards that I think have learned a valuable lesson. Going back to
Ms. Eagle, can you just mute everybody on Zoom?
Everybody's muted.
No, I think
Except me.
I think it's Mr. Frank that has background music.
He's done.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, Miss Eagle. Continue.
That's okay.
Sorry, this is the hybrid. Hybrid. Here you go.
I'm so glad you're trying it. Okay, I'm glad you're trying it. All right. One of these days we'll get back to everyone will be here. As I said, I think this town learned a valuable lesson dealing with the water fund. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to give you a little history, all right? Because this predates you, Mr. Supervisor, okay? But I think Vishnu and Ed would remember this. And also, I forget, Tom, wherever you are on that screen. Going back several years, I don't know, roughly, I can't remember, 2016, 17, the Water District had about $6 million in a fund balance, a very nice fund balance, okay? What the board then did, and Councilman Lachterman, Councilman Diana, you were on the board then. What you did was you reduced the water tax, okay, and you used the fund balance to cover the operating deficit because obviously there was a deficit. And you spent more than approximately $4 million of that fund balance just to lower the taxes. You got to a point where you were so short of money, one, you had to start raising the taxes, you had to raise the water rates, and you had to postpone capital improvements because, as Mr. Sifone said, you put money in the budget for the cement lining, and you use that money to cover the deficit because you lowered the taxes. Even what you put in from the fund balance wasn't enough. And you never finished the meter project, which could have been done in 2016-17, and you would have been reaping all of that additional revenue from money. And then you also, when there was an unexpected expense for our share of a water tank over at the Joint Waterworks, we had a bond. We had to borrow $1 million because we didn't have it in the fund balance. That is a lesson that I think current boards have learned. Don't use your fund balance to cover operating expenses, and don't use it 1, 2, 3 years. You use it and you lower your taxes, and then what have you got to show the next year when you can't take it from the fund balance anymore? Wow, there's going to be a spike in your revenue, in your taxes, unless you cut expenses. If you put that money into some improvement project, like $1 million for the Mohegan Wall, or some critical drainage problem, I think if you put fund balance money into a drainage problem, it would probably cut your maintenance costs of going back. You're shaking your head, and I hope everyone sees with the mask on.
Can't hear the rocks rattling around in there?
Okay, that you need to use that fund balance for long-term improvements which will provide lasting things. So that answers, I say, a long-going comment. And I'm saying this to you, but I think all of you understand that now because you saw what happened with the water fund. It's a classic example of what not to do. But I'm also saying this to whoever is in the public listening to this and says, oh, let's use that fund balance to reduce taxes. But also, I did ask 3 questions that kind of got sidetracked. What is the $15,000 public education grant?
Pat, are you there? The PEG grant.
PEG grant is what we get from Verizon.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay, it's for cable services.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
For cable services.
Where is the money for the $10,000 town historian, and why wasn't the creation of that committee discussed at an open session? Okay, and also the question about the town property and the large sum that's budgeted $50,000 when you've been spending $12,000 for taxes on town-owned property. Did you acquire any property in 2021?
Pat, can you answer that question?
I was basing it on the fact that some of the properties that we have that came on the rolls have not come off. So I'm going to have to pay taxes on it next year, and then they will come off the roll. That's the information that I have, and that's what I used when I budgeted that line.
Properties. Do you have specific properties, Pat?
Are there any specific properties?
I don't have the list available right now, no. I will get it for you, though.
Yes, I'd appreciate that. Because I don't remember any discussion about the town acquiring properties. And as town attorney explained, sadly, we can't proceed with the foreclosures. And there are so many. The town started a foreclosure proceeding in 2019, and when the due date came to pay up or foreclose, we were into COVID. Right. And that's been a problem because there are some that are absolutely egregious. I believe there's one house that owes over $400,000, and I used to walk by it, and it's a lovely looking house. I don't know what the inside is, and that hasn't paid taxes since about 2006. And that is absolutely egregious. So, Pat, I would look forward to getting that. Thank you very much.
I will say that raising the water rates had nothing to do with the fund balance.
The pass-through.
Raising the water rates had to do with the fact we didn't raise them for 10 years, but New York City kept raising it on us to charge us for the privilege of buying back our own water.
No, that was a portion of the thing. But when the
I'm just talking about raising the rates, so that they're two totally different things. We needed to raise rates because of the pass-through. We're getting charged.
No, that was only a portion. The pass-through was only a portion of the increased costs because all the expenses, from the chemicals that you use to the salaries you pay to the vehicles that you use and how to maintain. Okay, that's life. They all increase. So your operating budget increased, just like probably in lots of other departments. but the taxes were cut, and it came to a point where you didn't have any more fund balance to put in. You don't use your savings account. Every homeowner knows that. You don't use your savings account, to cover your basic expenses. You have to cut your expenses or find some other new revenue. And we learned that lesson, and we're suffering today, and we're losing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that. By the way, are you proceeding with the cement lining? You got the bids, but then I think you went out for a grant.
To hear from the state on the NIWEA grant, which we should hear by the end of the year. So that'll also, and our water superintendent Ken Rundle's on. Speaking with him and our team, we had all agreed to postpone the beginning of the cement relining project because you can't do it in the winter because it requires temporary lines to be run.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to run temporary lines, they're going to freeze because of the temperature. So that's not going to commence until the spring. By that point in time, we will have heard back on the NIWEA grant, and that will help us propel that project forward.
Will the bid still hold? Have the bid, so they will hold. And I don't know if you're able to give us an update on the water meter project and what.
We'll talk about it next week.
What?
We'll talk about it as a board next week.
In an open session? Okay, thank you.
Susan, when you are done, I have a comment. Maybe you stay over there,
Kenny's predecessor used that fund as his personal, not his personal piggy bank, but his piggy bank to fund different things. That's where that money ended up going. I'm pretty correct on that. Correct, Kenny? Thank you. So to say that, we affected that fund balance and took money from this and that is incorrect.
No, the record shows $1 million was taken from the fund balance for water district expenses. Whether those expenses were needed or not is something else. But the water district, because it had so much money, was buying the vehicles that then, and the water department vehicles were sold to other departments. That's where some of the money went. Thank you.
Please stay over there. See if I am connecting the right dots. There was a 4 million plus money was taken out from a water department fund balance instead of doing the water meter project, because it was unanimously approved to do the project, and one lousy little gasket didn't work out. So he said, "You are no good. The king just chopped off the head." Actually, they repair and give us free. First time you do, always something goes wrong, And then if we had finished up, we had the money, or even if we have to slightly borrow because we had the antenna, $2 million was used to build the infrastructure, and we can use the same antenna now. Okay. Okay. So that was the idea. You could have gotten $300,000 more every year by controlling the cost by using electronic monitoring system and also the leak, and people are hooked up. I show you the picture, guys. They hook it up double, triple from one line. I will send you the picture, supervisor, and you will be amazed.
I'm not doubting it.
No, and they steal the sewer like that too, and electricity. Okay, I know this one. Okay, because I have the picture. People send me like this. That's why we lost. Then how can you take a water department fund balance and balance the budget for the area? Come on. Those people have never paid the taxes, and then you are just subsidizing it, and you are putting the sugar on a cup and then give it everybody. This is the sweet. Sprinkle the holy water with the sugar over there, That was the main problem. The second thing is fluoridation project. I show you the picture right here, man. You will not believe it. This could have been done less than $1 million. I went there and I told the guy, and they shut it off. The reason they did I have gotten hundreds of emails, journal of irreproducible result, like fake news and like that, until even now once in a while they send me $800,000 have been done right away. Okay, and then another issue came in that there was a pipe, and it need to be closed and all that, and a building, and and there are new codes, and there are new codes, That building, the original building, is unusable now, and I went to see them. I took the student over there. He's locked up over there. Okay, it costs a lot of money to clean it up. If we had done it a long time ago, and I have the picture of that, that person who was the head of the health department. What is it?
Dr. Amler?
Yeah, she was right here. I have a picture right here. This is what we did not do it, and we are still. So now it's going to cost more money. Same thing with the bridge and all that. If we fall apart, ask our highway superintendent. You have one pothole, everybody use the same pothole, and how many people go to the garage? It costs in the long term. It goes cost to the people. That's why. Thank you for fixing some of the pothole. Okay.
Thank you.
No, I've said this before, and let me say it again, because you brought this up, Councilman Patel. I thanked this board many times for one proceeding on the fluoride project, even though there were cost overruns. That's an essential health issue, and I've thanked you for moving ahead on the water meter project. And I'm looking forward to the discussion next week. And I hope that you've made. I won't repeat the issues that I've raised, that you're doing it in the most cost-effective way. But can I go back to Destination Y? I think one of the problems with that is who it was targeting. If I remember those discussions, it was let's get all the New York City back office people to come here, without realizing that I don't think Yorktown really had space, either in existing space, maybe I think the old buildings, the Strang Boulevard buildings, I think have space. But we certainly didn't have locations for new buildings. So it's not just, so it's targeting to Mr. Esposito's comments. It's targeting the right way. I don't think we need a destination, Yorktown, to get RE/MAX to come to Yorktown, or to have level whatever.
It's multi-pronged.
What?
They have a
it's
multi-pronged approach.
But we also just have to know, we put it on our website if we work with brokers and owners, what property we have available with all the basic information and who to contact. We just send notices out and work with our commercial owners to send notices out to all the commercial realtors so they know. Because when somebody wants to look for a location, that's who they come to. And just as an aside, I was wondering what was happening to Tractor Supply Company, because I remember, wow, how excited people were. They were coming.
Their land deal with the private property owner fell through.
Yeah, and that private property owner is one of the ones that owes back taxes. All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
All you do is lead them there. If it's then it's up to the private property owner and the tenant to make
that's what it is. Thank you.
Contract. We can't do that for them. Anyone else would like to speak? Mr. Strauss, I see you getting up.
Dan Strauss.
You could take your mask off if you
No,
want.
it's okay. I talk loud enough.
You think?
Yeah,
Dr.
I think.
Dan, how we
I
doing?
know. Okay, it was either stay home or come in here, because I was watching, and I have a couple of things. Every year, I've never come in here about the budget before. I've watched it a little bit, but I know that things keep recurring. One of them is open space. I'm all for open space, you know that. Doesn't matter whether it's mowed or it's not mowed. I'm just going to start that way. It's not to do with the upkeep, okay? I don't want to get into any to-do about it. It's not to do with that. Open space is open space. The town can buy open space, and they could put no trespassing on there if you're worried about safety. And they could keep it for 5 years and then develop it, as far as I'm concerned, if they wanted to. I'm not nitpicking about it, getting legal stuff. Or they can just leave it open, like the Trump Parks. I go to the Trump Parks. They were hardly, for years, there was nothing done there. And that was great with me. Now they're overseen by Linda Cooper, who I happened to talk to today. And they do a wonderful job. But there's still pretty much open space. Okay.
Passive parks.
They're parks, and not built up.
Right, passive
Right.
parks. Yeah.
That's all. Okay, so every year it seems that there's a discussion about where the money is. There used to be an open space fund. I understand that. People contributed $30 a year, and then it stopped. Mr. Moskowitz brought it up again. I don't know what the deal was. I recollect I was at a lot of meetings in the last 6 years, but I know it got stopped. Can you please explain to me what the deal is with the open space fund, and can it be put back or allocated or whatever you do with it so that you have money, so that the town has money to buy open space if they want to without restrictions. That's what I would like to see. And whether it's in this fund or that fund or this fund or any fund, can you just explain how you could do that if you want to do that? You don't have to do it now. I don't know what the deal is.
If we had a piece of property for $100,000, how do we go purchase it? That's your question.
But I'm just saying in the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was like that it's got to be in this. It should be an open space fund. That's all. Cut and dry.
Or, to my predecessor's point, and I think to the board's point previously, and our comptroller's here. She can correct me if I'm wrong. Which is she here?
I'm waiting.
If there's a piece of, it's just like the other things that you see the town board do. If there's a piece of property that the town wants to purchase for $100,000, we can easily transfer that money from the fund balance to the open space fund and purchase said property.
Okay, so let me ask you this: Has the town done that?
We haven't had property to purchase.
Okay, so you haven't. You haven't done it.
You
haven't done it in your administration.
Not since I've been here, sir.
In Mr. Gilbert's administration, was it done?
I don't believe so.
Mr. Lachterman, you were in his administration.
Yeah, I know there was one piece that came up for purchase.
Yeah, but was it purchased?
Yes, I believe so. I believe one piece came up for purchase.
We can verify that.
Do you believe or you know?
Yeah,
well,
we could.
Mr.
No,
Strauss,
I think.
we can verify.
It's 6 years of time.
We can verify this.
Yes.
Pat.
Okay. I'm looking.
Pat can look for us and give us the direct answer.
Was that the Turkey Mountain piece you're talking about, Ed?
Was that the Turkey Mountain piece?
I believe so.
Was that what it was, Paul?
I don't believe that was purchased.
It was not purchased?
I don't believe so.
It's the same piece that I've been working on with Walt and Jane. You never purchased that piece of property.
We've been trying to get access to an easement from Con Ed.
Is that the one on
that connects the
Tony Street?
Oh, I know which property. Yeah, that hasn't been purchased yet.
No. That has.
But,
I don't know if that's what we're referring to.
But I'm not trying to pinpoint. But for my comment would be that if you're going to have that, you should have a fund that will go and do that. That's my comment.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Strauss?
Sure.
Do you know of any property that you think we should be buying?
No, I'm not getting at that.
Okay, well, but that's an important aspect.
Why?
Because it goes to Mr. Saffone's point about fund balance. Why would we set up a piggy bank with money that could be used for things for the taxpayer now that is just going to sit there and can only be used for one thing and one thing only? Now, you mentioned slapping up a no trespassing sign.
No, I don't. I'm not. Don't get involved with that.
No, I'm just saying though, we have an obligation when we own that property, as our highway superintendent can tell us, that if there's a tree that is a danger by, like, say, Turkey Mountain, it's got to be taken down, and it's an expense. Because if that tree falls and God forbid, injures or kills someone, the town is responsible, just like any property owner is responsible. So,
okay, fine.
So
okay, I'll go with that. That's fine with me.
That is one of the big issues that we struggled with at that time.
You think that was a big issue?
Yes.
Okay,
let me speak to that.
Okay, good.
Here's the deal. Since we've been having all these summer storms, we've been having so many trees coming down. We have the emerald ash borer weevil that is destroying every ash tree in Yorktown. Now, unfortunately, there's over 5,000 acres of open space that we have in Yorktown.
Okay.
A lot of it abuts personal property, private property. So, here, let me tell you how it works. Somebody sends you an email and says, this tree needs to be taken down. I'm putting you on written notice. Now, if that tree never falls down, no big deal. That tree comes down and causes damage, the town's on the hook for the money. This year, for the first time in the history of Yorktown, this particular board I've worked with them. We've gotten a company that will come in and take care of these trees, these problem trees. We went out to bid, and this has been funded with $50,000 as an initial first blush look at this. So the question that gets being asked is, was that $50,000 part of the open space fund? Because initially, the problem with the open space fund was that it could only be used for purchase. It couldn't be used for maintenance.
Okay.
And that's what I think part of the genesis at that time of changing how it was accounted was part and parcel of the reason. I'm not saying the entire
That's
reason,
fine.
but part
So
and
there
parcel.
is no open space fund
No, there
right
isn't.
now.
There is an open space fund.
Oh,
There
there
is
is
an
one.
open space
There
fund.
absolutely is an open space fund. How much money
But-
is in there,
but-
Pat? Do we know?
It's about 155,000 in fund balance right now.
In the open space fund
Open
or
space
in the
fund
fund
is
balance?
150 No, open space fund is 155,000.
155,000.
Yes.
So I don't see what the whole deal is about then.
No, may I say something?
I just don't get it.
Because,
That- I
Mr.
just don't
Strauss, we're not going to go
understand.
back and forth with the audience members. You can have that conversation
No.
elsewhere.
Okay. I
But-
don't understand what
So
the
there's
whole deal is.
$155,000 that if the town had an opportunity to purchase open space, it could use the $155,000 directly to purchase open space.
You have that
We have it right now.
right now.
Right now.
So I don't understand what the discussion is
Right.
has
So,
been about.
and I think what excuse me, Mr. Patel, one second. What Mr. Paganelli was saying is fact of the matter is that there was no mechanism for the maintenance of the 5,000 acres of open space. The other point to be made is that when you do purchase a piece of property and you make it open space, you're also taking it off the tax rolls. So that also impacts all of our local homeowners. Another important point.
Okay.
But to Mr. Paganelli's point, there was never a mechanism to actually care for these trees that were falling.
Okay,
We've
that's
got. I think I saw Jim Moderano on the screen at one point.
Okay.
And there he is, and he can tell you about all the different times that he's been called by residents who neighbor parks, and we have to
they're only parks because they were determined to be parks when they were taken as open space.
Right, exactly. So there's a whole process there's a whole process that we have to go through when someone says there's a piece of town property behind us. We have to determine, is it open space? Is it a conservation easement? Is it parkland? Yada yada yada. And then they go over.
Prime example right now, we have one location on one road in Yorktown, okay, that has approximately 12 trees that have got to come down.
Right.
We are waiting till the new budget kicks in so that we can then exercise that option to have a company come in, because they're not trees that we can get to with our bucket truck. They have to be climbed, and we don't have climbers because it is extremely dangerous, and I think it puts the town in very difficult liability.
But even with all this, there's still $155,000 today.
So there's $155,000 to purchase new property.
Yes.
Right? But that money for the maintenance is coming out of where?
Out of fund balance, which is basically
it's coming out of the general operating budget of the town. It's a new
Operating
line
budget
within
of the town.
new line within the operating budget of the town.
Okay,
But
so
may I
that's
say
got
something then?
nothing to do with, now I'm going to go to my second point. The general fund. Is the operating balance anything to do with the general fund?
You have your general operating fund. You have your general
the
operating
general
budget.
fund that has $17 million.
Yes.
Is that part of is the operating balance where your money for the maintenance of the parks? Where is that money coming
the
out of?
$17 million is the surplus from the operating budget.
It's a surplus.
It is the surplus of the operating budget. So, like when you saw the auditor's report say that we cut spending and we increased our fund balance.
Okay,
that is the increase of the fund balance. That's your surplus.
Let me go back one more time. For those trees to pay rail, it's coming out of your operating.
For the first time ever.
It's coming out of your operating budget, and the $17 million is simply an excess in that same category.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. Is that correct, Pat?
Yes, it is.
That's correct, sir.
That's correct. Go ahead, and then I have one other question. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just say $30 per person per parcel was the law, right? We all know about it. And then the sky fell down, and they said this is, not necessary or whatever reason, but we are still collecting that $30 per parcel every year. Am I right, Controller?
You're not collecting $30 per parcel.
So then what
Because
happened?
it's not being collected in the open space fund.
No, but we did not reduce that much. The money is coming in, going somewhere else, right?
Not coming, we're not.
The approximately $400,000 that was collected by the $30 per parcel charge is now in the general fund in the contingency.
The story I want to find out. Tell you. So what happened? You are paying the money. The real issue was that there was no money for maintaining the open space, and legally, if you want to use the money from the fund balance, what we have collected from open space, then you have to go to the state and change the law or something. So that was not accomplished, right? Money we are collecting it, $30, okay? It's like a credit card, you pay off and still, you are paying the money. It's just like a debt.
Okay,
So that was not very clear, okay?
all right, so.
Okay, so the
that's-
money we are getting it. So some money when you need it, as I said right now, is 150,000 or whatever. Okay, but if you want to buy bigger property with more money, then you're gonna have to either bond it or something like that. And that has never happened. Okay, after we bought the granite knoll. So that's what is really be confusing here. Okay, we are collecting the money, and when we use it, so the whole purpose of collecting the money, we should be able to spend some money, but it has to be done legally.
But I think the impetus of the open space fund was to prevent us from having to bond to purchase open space.
Yeah, no, well, then we bought it $2.2 million and $700,000 came back, and in 4 years we pay back $2.2 million, and then we get $7 million. We got the dividend. What investment in the world can give this kind of return on investment? We did it here for the people, those who are on this board, and we should be very proud. Our community should be proud of that we have it now, and we did it. So you don't know, you just cannot go and find the diamond here, like that, in a whole mountain they dig it up and one mountain comes in. So this was the law, and then somebody shut the light off, and we are
Okay.
still collecting the money.
So if
This is
I-
what I understand.
Okay,
Mr.
let me go from there. I appreciate what you've just said. That's another issue. Right now, we are not paying $30 a month. I'm sorry, $30 a year into a fund. Is that correct? Am I paying $30 a year into an open space fund?
No.
At some point, I was.
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Let the
Okay,
controller answer
so
it, please.
the point I'm getting at, that's another point. What happened with that, and was money in the fund for open space moved? It was not moved.
Pat, was
No.
there ever a transfer of money out of the open space?
No, never. It can't be transferred.
Okay, then we'll leave that. The general, you've answered my questions, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Okay, but we are not paying $30 a year.
You're currently not paying $30
Dollars a year into a fund, into the open space fund.
To purchase prospective open space.
Okay,
Which
Yes.
we don't have identified.
but let's say that you came across a $1 million property, and you wanted to buy that.
Right.
You have $155,000.
Right.
How would you buy it?
Transfer the balance from the fund balance. To
You
the
can
open
do
space
that.
fund, and you can purchase
You
it.
can do that, but you said earlier that you can't transfer $1 million to the water department.
Correct.
Right, but I
What's the
can
difference?
transfer to open space.
I can't.
But you can transfer the open space fund.
You can do it for the open space,
to
but
the
you
water.
cannot do it for water.
Correct.
Okay.
No.
Why?
I
State
want
law.
to say the last point
Special
very
district.
clear cut.
State law for special.
State law.
State law for special districts.
Okay. You can't transfer it to the water department or or to the
Anything
highway
that has a
department.
special district, anything that it is a separate district, you cannot transfer.
You could transfer it to highway.
To highway. Okay, so you have $17 million. Is that what you're saying right now?
According to our comptroller, that's what we're saying.
Approximately. Is that
Yes.
correct?
In our general
Correct.
fund balance.
In the general fund. So how do you spend the money? If you had, from what I understand, you had $5 million at some point, then it went to $10 million, now it's at 17, which is terrific. How do you spend that money?
Capital improvements.
Capital improvements. is there in the budget,
There's
this
a capital-
preliminary, you have
There's a
how
capital-
you're going to spend some of that money?
There is a proposed capital improvement project that's a 5-year in the budget. Year one, I would say, is the most accurate, but it does identify a number of projects that we intend to spend out of fund balance. For example, the steps over at the police department and courthouse will be repaired and enhanced using fund balance money. I believe the boilers that we're going to award tonight is going to be fund balance money. That's almost $400,000 there.
Okay.
So that's what we're using. It's just like your savings account at home. When you have to do an improvement project, that's where you're taking the money out of.
Right, okay.
Same
But
concept.
that, from what I gather, that's like maybe $1.5 million out of 17.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, those
to
are just some
to his
examples,
point.
but there's others. We can talk about culvert projects that we're already looking at: Old Crampon Road, Strang Boulevard, Ridge Street. So trust me, there's plenty of projects.
Brookside.
Brookside, yeah, there's plenty of projects that I can rattle off to you.
So you could give the highway department $10 million this year, is that correct?
I think they should.
No, I'm dead serious.
But I don't think
You can give them $10 million to do everything that Mr. Paganelli said that he could pave all the roads for the town of Yorktown.
We did $1 million
And you
this year.
could give him $5 million
We did $1
to
million.
do it.
We did $1
I
million.
couldn't do it for $5 million.
You could
We
do
did
it for 10.
We
No,
did
I couldn't do it for 10.
We
Okay.
did
It would take about $30,000, $30
$30 million. Okay, but you
to pave
could
the
give him
entire
$10
town.
million. That's
If the
this
board
year.
voted to transfer that money, then yes. to
Yeah,
authorize
you
that
couldn't do it. You can't give it to water. You
Correct.
can't give it to the others. But for Mr. Paganelli, which would be terrific,
Yep.
it would benefit the town
Which is why we did $1
tremendously.
million this year,
You could
yes.
do that.
Yes.
And
But
to
they-
Mr. I can't remember your name.
About that
The
beat.
phone?
Mr. Safone, to his point, you shouldn't have that much money. So it's either give it to Mr. Paganelli or give it back to the taxpayers. And that's another story. I mean, that's your choice. I know what I would do. I would give it to Mr. Paganelli to fix everything. So that's
Mr.
my
Strauss, I can assure you that there are a
Too many.
large number of capital improvement projects
that other
that-
people want to do.
No, not other people,
the
but
town
that the
needs.
town
The
needs.
town needs,
the town
right.
needs to do. We need to go spend, probably close to $300,000 for a new roof at the Cappellini Center. I mean, those are
Okay,
all
that's
things
fine.
that come out of the fund balance.
Okay.
That
million
if I
dollars,
gave $10 million to my good friend over here, Mr. Paganelli, I wouldn't be able to do.
No,
but we
I
also,
get it.
I don't know if you heard the conversation earlier, but there is a threshold that we need to maintain. That's from
For
the
our
state
bond
comptroller.
rating.
Yeah,
So
no, that's fine.
there's a number of factors that go into it, but
Yeah. Okay.
I think we are in a very advantageous position because of the strength of our fund balance. I don't want to overplay our hand,
No, I get
right?
that.
And overspend and put us in and lose that advantageous position. There are municipalities around the county and around the entire region who would probably sacrifice a limb in order to be in the same position that we are.
Good.
So I think that's something that we should be proud of. But we're also going to responsibly spend the dollars that we need to in order to make the necessary improvements, but also have an operating budget that makes sense and that respects homeowners and respects taxpayers, and it allows us to achieve new things like the $50,000 for maintenance of our forestry. That's something that's brand new that
Yeah,
we're doing
that's
this
fine.
year.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss. Appreciate it.
May I ask the controller one question?
Sure.
No, he's
controller.
asking the
I'm
comptroller.
asking-
You want to be the comptroller there, Mr. Strauss?
No.
Yes. I
Need
have
to practice 2 words.
I have a
done.
question
I'm not dollars and cents.
for our controller. She got the money, okay? They got the money. Anyway, would you please kindly tell me and the people of this town that $30 price of a one pepperoni pizza lunch, that money we are still collecting, but not as a that money is still we are paying it, but not paying for the open space money. So it goes somewhere else. So it's just to balance the budget. We have extra tax, tax revenue. Okay, you can say like that. Am I wrong or right?
It's not going to balance revenue. It's in the budget on the expense side under the contingency.
Okay, but not going to the fund balance for the open space. So we are collecting money, okay, and we are using it whenever we need it. But if somebody says, that, oh, we stopped the fund balance, yes, because we were not able to spend other than purchasing. But that money comes in here, $400,000 additional income every year, okay? How we are spending is another story, okay?
But I don't, respectfully, Councilman Patel, I don't think it's additional revenue. Am I correct in saying that, Pat?
Yes, because if you don't,
No,
if you
no,
cancel
let-
it for $30, that was a complaint, then you have to reduce that much expenses.
No, but Pat, am I wrong? Am I accurate in saying it's not additional revenue?
It is.
It's not, we're allocating it. It's coming in as revenue, but it is being allocated in the budget, and it's done specifically in the contingency, so that only the board can authorize an expenditure from it.
But if you don't have that money, you will not have that much money in a contingency budget, So we are doing good, okay? It's just like you pay off the credit
We're doing
card.
very good.
Credit card, but you still, going and buying again. It's the reverse of that thing. We are collecting the money. MONEY, pepperoni pitch up every year. Not bad, I mean, really. If you are throwing away more food.
Listen,
then
I get
it's
pepperoni
saving. It's
pizza every
wonderful.
Tuesday from
Thank
Maria's.
you.
So, very good. Any other comments for public hearing on the budget? Any other comments?
Can I say then now something?
Well, why don't we one more time, and then you can
Okay.
say, and then you can make your
I
comments.
want all the people, those who are here. Nobody come here except you guys, really. And I am getting a more complaint about the budget and the taxes than anywhere I go. This is your chance to come next year, or just come visit the supervisor
Yep.
and anybody else, because you have a right to speak. Mr. Fafon, I wish you good health and happiness. Former supervisor, Susan Siegel, Paul, and everybody who are here. Thank you so very much coming here. At least this is your money, how we are spending it for you, the taxpayer of Yorktown.
Are you gonna vote on it tonight?
Well, I think the board will have a conversation, but we still have an open public hearing right now. So, if there's no other comments, how does the board feel about closing a public hearing?
I feel great about it. Motion to close a public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So I think the biggest things that we were hearing about was the open space fund. Any thoughts on?
Look, I've vocalized it a few times. I think we need to be able to take care of the property, and the fact that it shifts to be able to be used is great. And I think that as open space comes up, if there's something that we should buy, we have the mechanism to do so with transferring the funds. So I don't really think we need to make that change. I think it's an important aspect to take care of that safety issue and care for the property.
Pat, can you do me a favor? Pat? Can you I don't know off the top of my head.
Can you check? How much of the contingency did we spend last year?
Give me a sec, I'll look it up for you.
The number that you gave Susan was 155. I thought that was this year.
That's this year.
Right.
What did we spend
What did we
last
spend
year?
last year?
I'm just looking it up in the budget. Give me a sec.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It was
If
100,000.
you want to have the conversation started with our legislators on if that could be adjusted,
If what can be adjusted?
the open space fund to be able to utilize it for maintenance. Actually, Walt brought up a good point. You can't even get an
Can't be
assessment
used.
on it.
No, he's saying lobby the legislators
To
so that
change
we
the
could
law.
use
You'd
it.
have to, I think you'd have, we discussed that when I was on the board. I
Right.
think you'd have to go back out for a vote on it.
Yeah, it's a since it was a
Yes,
referendum.
it would
I
have
think
to
we'd
be a
do some
referendum.
more.
I think that's what we had determined, and that's why, at the time, we were trying to switch it around so it would be able to be used.
my-
Finding a pathway to be able to use it for maintenance.
Yeah.
That's right. That was the biggest issue, and that's why, it was stopped. Put the brake. That's why everybody has to pay $30. And then there was another issue was bigger house or a bigger lot, they pay $30, and the little one they pay $30. So But I think, we are very fortunate in this town.
That was a big discussion at the time too.
That,
The mall's
you
paying
know,
$30, and a
yeah.
person in a condo's paying $30.
Yeah, but,
On a fixed income.
But I think it's also, listen, I don't, do you remember, or Councilman Diana, do you remember when this change was implemented, was there,
It was just it was done with a high hand, done, okay, like that.
my
okay?
guess is, though, the thought process was about priorities, right? So
Yes.
if we saw that there were greater needs on an operational standpoint,
No,
then-
but
then-
we
then
should have a
opportunity to purchase
discontinue
open
and
space.
give them a break. The whole idea was to those who do not have a.
I don't know, I wasn't here, that's why I'm asking.
No,
That was the
idea
whole
exactly
idea. That so don't charge it, but then we still kept in a budget with a different name. That's the whole issue.
Hold on one second, Councilman Diana.
Councilman Diana, I'm sorry, you were
No,
saying?
he wasn't there.
Hold on one second, Councilman Diana?
There was no sunset clause on this whole thing.
Correct.
And that's part of the reason that it was stopped, because it was just $30, collecting it to $30, 30 and 30 and 30 every year to the rate. What was it, Pat? 400,000 that I guess was in that account approximately. And that would just go on into infamy, so to speak.
In perpetuity.
Perpetuity. So that was one of the main reasons it was stopped. We hadn't used it, and correct me if I'm wrong, to buy any properties. We couldn't use it to maintain any properties. The only thing it was good for was the purchase. So that's why things evolved in the way they did.
I agree with you. What I disagree respectfully to each and every one, we are still paying that $30. We did not stop taking the $30. Okay, and it's good. So this way, we have other way to use that money to maintain the yes. But we have to tell the people.
Legally, we can't stop taking it.
No, then we should have changed the law. We went to the Albany and they would have done something. That's why the whole disagreement was there, right?
It has to go for referendum.
Whatever it is, you can do that.
Pat, what did we spend last year out of that?
Out of the contingency, 12,500.
That's all we
That's
spent
all we
last
spent
year?
last year?
That's correct.
So, since we
Couldn't you have embellished that a little bit?
every year we collect $400,000. See how
Pat,
long?
Pat, do you have the year before?
Give me money.
19,313.
The majority have a power to do board legally. They can do that. Just tell the people that listen. We are still collecting, but we need the money to spend here. Okay.
Right. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's what we did.
No, but what was discussed, that open space money still stopped. No, we are collecting the same money for different purpose, okay? So that's why additional revenue, yes, we need that revenue to do things for the town. That's it. We should say like that.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
I think that's. Again, I wasn't here on the board, so I don't know if that's the way it was articulated.
No, but this
I
was,
agree with you.
but at least it's been discussed now. It's good, okay? Yeah.
I stand corrected.
What's that?
What's that?
In 2019, there were funds that were transferred out to about $350,000. I'd have to look in each one of these.
Because we transferred money out, I thought, last year out of there.
Yeah, but we are not saying that.
2019, we transferred
telling
money.
the truth.
There's
That's
a
the issue.
$225,000 transfer out. I have 23. I have 33, 28, another 30,000. I mean, if you want me to rattle them all off.
No. I'm just trying to get a sense as to
Where the need. That's what I'm trying to understand. I thought that we had done more. I thought we spent more out of that last year than $12,000.
No, transfers that totaled about 24,000.
I did pretty good.
I think the maintaining of the open space is a very good idea. Okay, yes, I'm not saying that, but doesn't need a $400,000 every year, and we are collecting that much revenue, and if we can use it for that purpose, it's great, But if you want to do something else, then it's not so great, because that thing has not changed, the $30.
But at the same time, Pat, it rolls into the fund balance, right? So the difference rolls in,
General fund balance?
this is the thing, though, right? So it rolls into the general fund balance, so that in theory, then, if a piece of property came available, all that we would have to do is transfer out of the general fund to the open space fund, and you can go purchase the property.
I agree with you 100%. But if the property value is higher, what are you going to do? $1 million. They don't have $1 million to give you, and then it has to be bonded.
No,
so that's another issue.
But you have it in fund balance.
Right now we have a fund balance, but you may not have that much. If you're
What was that, Pat?
I said you could do exactly what you did for Granite Knolls, because that was a bond anticipation note that was used as a portion of that purchase price.
That was a very good fortune, and people those who are sitting here.
Yeah, that was the whole purpose of it. Instead of letting it sit there building up as a piggy bank until someone said, well, we'll just buy anything because we have the money, you needed flexibility to be able to maintain, which we didn't have. So that's exactly what the conversation was about, and exactly why it was done. So, if you want to talk about later on, bringing it back to the state and seeing what can be done, that's fine. But I don't think it's a change on this budget.
Councilman Diana, any thoughts?
I'm good right now.
Oh, you don't have any?
No, she couldn't make it tonight. She wasn't feeling well.
Not on the phone?
No. Nope.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
Your thoughts?
No,
I'm sorry?
I don't say anything.
Do you want me to discuss the creation?
Oh, yeah.
What is that
Or do you
thing?
want to wait until we get to that point in the resolutions?
What are we going?
Why don't we
This
close?
is done now.
So that we've
Make
closed.
the decision on, you, but.
No, we've closed the
Call for a
public
vote
hearing.
on- Call for a
Okay,
vote on
can
the budget.
anybody-
Are you comfortable voting on the budget?
No, we have to decide it, but don't we want you to go the rest of the agenda?
Yeah, but
Anything in the budget? I have some questions, okay?
what's your questions
In
for the
the
budget?
budget.
That's what we're talking
Let
about.
me just say, that if you give $10,000 to each and every head of, the chairman or whatever, planning board, zoning board, these are the extremely important board for our town. And they are going to direct. If you give to each one 10,000, my vote is yes. Otherwise, I'm going to say no. Okay. Everybody should get it in. They work so hard, just like us, and they are a very dedicated
Okay, so then what?
employee.
Diana, do you want to speak on this then? Because I think he's referring to the town historian resolution.
Under state law, the town is mandated to have a town historian. The town historian's appointment is the prerogative of the town supervisor. I requested for consideration a particular individual, which under the law is discussed in executive session when you're discussing a particular person. I also requested them to consider creating a local advisory history committee. Also with specific people, particular individuals, because this committee is a specialized committee in preserving the history of the town. And this committee is also, if you look through the resolutions, they come from the Heritage Commission, they come from the Historical Society, they come from the library, they come from the community at large, they come from the town clerk's office, obviously, as the records management officer. The history and the preservation of our records is very important to me, and certainly our museum. So it was a very specialized request from me to the town board, and because it was specialized, and that's why it was done the way it was done. I am certainly very honored to get the opportunity to work with each and every one of these individuals, because I think that their dedication and their knowledge of the history of our community is just outstanding on each and every one of them. As far as the compensation, I will tell you, and I hope nobody's listening that's on here, this committee or this historian, that is probably one of the lowest compensations for a town historian across the state. Some are not paid, and some are paid very highly. In this particular case, it's one of the lower ones. I'm thankful that the town board is considering it, and the compensation will come from the museum fund. And again, I'm not going to discuss that particularly because that affects particular people and employees of that department.
So, Diana, just for clarification, though, the town historian is per se nothing to do with the actual advisory board. They communicate with them, but it's not like an advisory board position. It's an actual position in the town.
I think it says
The
there's a
town.
chair here of
Hold on.
the-
Yes, the town historian will serve as the chair of that commission or that committee. Excuse me. However, under state law, they are a public officer, but they are not technically an employee of the town. They are a public officer under the law, but that's an appointment that the supervisor makes.
So,
Did it answer your question there, Councilman Patel?
yes, so we do not value the time of the Board of Assessment, the planning department.
Vishnu, this is
I know history. How Hauser was there, and I was appointed volunteer board member first at the planning, the water, this was building department, electrical and plumbing license board. I was there. Nancy Elliott was there, and that's why I was involved in the museum for 15 years. Okay. And I spent not a nickel was spent by town, doing the things, and I'm very proud of that. The community. Oh, Ed Sapone, Mr. Sapone was there. Museum, Mr. Sapone, thank you for your service to the museum. Really, his wife and both, and all the volunteers. It's such a beautiful thing, and this is what we did it here. Okay, I just want to show you the one thing. And do you remember I gave you that one?
Yep, this one.
4 times we have volunteer, each and every volunteer organization in the town. We have honored them, and the big, and I was involved in that one, and I'm very proud of that, okay? I'm going to give it to you so many pictures and everything else. And you know who was really honored? All the volunteer organization, but Mr. Murphy, the lacrosse.
Charlie Murphy.
When he passed away, there was an exhibition for all the superstars came there, and their memorabilia. I have all the pictures, and there are so many other really very, very nice exhibition, and then everything stopped, okay? And then look, the planning department, they used to be, participating in that program, they did some posters and like that. It was a wonderful, wonderful event, and then everything died, okay? So you want to revitalize this, but I value the service of the planning department. Volunteer planning board, okay? And also the planning department, but the zoning, and you name it. How many people are volunteering that time?
There's no doubt about it.
How do you feel? Make them feel good or bad? I don't know. I cannot vote right here. I'm not going to vote for that one. Okay, I cannot do that. Those are the wonderful people. They will think that why we are not there. This board member and there's only one. Unless you want to hire create a new department, something like that. I don't know.
So you can vote no on that resolution.
Yes,
that's
I'm
how
not
you
going to
feel.
vote.
That's
Yes.
fine.
Okay. Because
it
this
doesn't-
is really, we are setting up a very wrong
So that's
precedence for the people of Yorktown. That listen, your time and value and engineering background, the technical background has no value. Maybe incentivize something so you have good quality people will come and volunteer here, and maybe one person will get a small amount like that.
So
Hold on, I have a question. The committee itself, they're volunteers, okay?
No. But
the town
why?
historian is a
but
different issue.
there
because
may
she's-
be somebody who wants to be volunteer from
Hold
their
on.
committee.
Hold on. Everybody on the committee is a volunteer.
No,
The
I
only-
know, girl.
The only
I know.
compensation would be for the town historian because of the work that person must have to do under state law.
No,
And
but
it's
there are people
time-consuming.
they do not want to be chair another person, those who are younger or something like that, or whatever the
this-
size, something knowledgeable.
Well, first of all, I have all the confidence in the world of the person that's being considered.
No,
I
no,
don't
I'm
think
not
there's
saying
anybody
that
better
one. I'm
than
not
that.
saying anything bad
However,
about-
the work that person will have to do under state law is
I'm not saying anything
is a
wrong,
lot,
but
and
we are
that's why the
setting
compensation
the
is
wrong
there.
precedent. people say, oh, you hire somebody, and then how about the other volunteer? They burn their own gas, the time and energy, and we should be very thankful to each and every one
And we
has
are.
volunteer
And
in
we
the
are.
town.
And we
you
are.
know, and I think this is in
Councilman,
my
you can
mind.
you can vote no on that resolution.
Yeah, but I think it will just come up, and you want us to do, you cannot do like
Yeah,
that.
but
This will be
so
forever, okay?
let's get back to the budget though. So that's a
Okay.
separate resolution that you can vote no on. That's not a problem. Is there anything else on the budget? that you
Okay,
have a question on?
another thing, I think, we should reduce some of the money, the bench, I forgot.
The what?
We have the communication director or something, $60,000. We should reduce some of the money over there,
Well, that's
because sometimes they write only one person's name all the time. They have never mentioned anything bad or other people's name, We should ask the people to write it and, let the newspaper write it, what we are doing over here, So that should be done like that, and I think we should reduce some of the money over there. Really.
Yeah, I disagree on that point.
Well, you don't,
And we did vote on it. It's something that we voted on, and we.
So you can
we
do
should
whatever
vote.
you want. That's
No,
why
we
I'm
already
saying.
voted. You were on that vote.
No. You can do whatever you want to do because the majority rules. I cannot argue with that one. Okay, that's right. It happens all over. So I'm not saying anything else. I am saying what I feel
That's
very
fine.
different.
And I
okay?
respect the council.
Yeah,
Not a problem.
that's it.
Any other issues?
Councilman Diana, any issues on your end?
No issues. Ready to vote.
Yep. So I make a motion to accept the budget as written.
So let's take an individual vote. Whatever you have to take it in. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. So
No,
to the clerk, do you want to?
I want you. I'm going to vote no for that reduction in expenses to have 50% reduction. Okay, just let's take it separate.
I don't think you can vote no in certain parts.
Then I'm not going to vote for the budget.
Understood.
Okay?
That's
yeah,
fine.
you can continue because in the way the budget is settled, that initial budget, okay, the tentative budget. If you don't process this one, and then if you don't pass the final budget, then tentative budget is the same thing. Then there is no change in the budget. It is a law, and we follow it. I'm not saying that, because in the end, in the spirit of the cooperation, we have to pass the budget, whether you pass it or not. There is already budget here. This is the budget. Maybe a little bit here and there.
Well, it's the same budget that you already approved.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that point, though.
All I want to
it is
say
the same budget you approved, because we did vote on this budget once before.
Record reflect that we should reduce that cost, okay? Or 60,000, maybe make it half, okay?
Understood.
And then we can do ourselves, because there are people ask me, and I have to listen to them.
We will
and
make
I have
sure.
spoken to like that,
Councilman
but
Patel.
I am not going to
Councilman Patel.
vote for the resolution what already
That's
just
not a
presented
problem.
to
But
us,
Councilman,
okay?
we will make sure that your
Separate vote, okay?
We will make sure that it's noted in the minutes of the meeting that you oppose the communication line and you want it reduced.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second to pass, excuse me, the budget, which is the same budget that you had already approved after our meetings with the public hearing. So you already voted on that, including the $60,000 for the communication line. So we'll have we have a first and a second. Do you need a roll vote on this?
I think we should take one.
No.
Okay. So you call it.
Okay.
Councilman Lachterman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Diana, how do you vote?
Aye.
That's aye?
Aye.
Okay.
That's me.
Supervisor Slater, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Patel,
Okay.
how do you vote?
My vote is reduce that from 60,000
You-
to
if-
30,000, and the other is not a part of the budget because that is already in a budget, $10,000,
Councilman
right?
Patel,
It's
with all
already-
due respect, on the table right now, the vote is to accept the preliminary budget as the adopted budget.
But in the preliminary budget, what was that $10,000? I didn't see it.
It's because it's coming out of the museum fund. There was no change.
No,
in
no, no,
that.
I didn't know about it. How can I vote?
No, this
No.
is
Come
about
on,
the
this is
operating.
separate.
It's out of
No,
the
the
operating.
operating, that could be, I don't understand like this, Listen, I can count the atom and molecule, okay? And you don't know what is how many atoms in a hydrogen, okay? 10 to the power 27, 1 gram of hydrogen, okay? I know how that thing works, okay?
Councilman
so this
Patel.
is not, no, I am saying whatever is right.
Are you
is
voting
right.
nay or A for the
I am
budget?
going to vote nay,
Thank
okay?
you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel.
for that one, okay?
I got it.
Yeah, okay.
I
You
got
cannot
it.
spend $10,000 for one. I respect each and every one. You come here,
That's
really,
fine,
it's a
we
beautiful
understand.
thing.
We understand.
Thank
We
you.
understand. And there's no disrespect. We completely understand. We want to thank our finance department for their work on this endeavor. We also want to thank all of our department heads for joining us tonight. It was greatly appreciated. We also, yeah, please, if we could have some order. We also want to thank our participants tonight who came to join us and speak on the budget, both virtually and in person. Okay, we have a number of resolutions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank
Great
you,
job,
Pat.
everyone.
Yes, thank you to all the department heads for
Thanks,
your work
everybody.
on this.
Good night.
Okay, we will move forward with resolutions.
We
have
should
a-
probably separate the.
Yeah, we'll pull out that one resolution. So, Councilman Patel, we're going to hold on this until the very end.
Okay, all
This
right,
way, it's
okay.
not in. So,
Let-
and
let
if
me
we can have order, excuse me. If you're leaving, please do so quietly. We still have business to conduct. Thank you.
Then you'll have to hold off on the appointments because you
Yeah,
have to
let's
create it
open it.
beforehand.
Okay.
We're gonna.
You can appoint two.
Understood. I'm gonna do them together, but at the
Yeah,
end.
Got it.
Okay. So we're gonna have a resolution to reappoint Stephen Tvert as a member of the Board of Assessment and Review. We'll make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. We will skip ahead to authorize the following employees to carry over their remaining vacation time in 2022. We will authorize the following managerial employees' vacation buyouts.
Can I ask a question here? Is it the first time we are doing this one, the manager?
No.
Okay, all right. No,
Do it
because
every year.
I don't know the limits, how many you can.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yearly limit, use it or you buy it, okay.
Pat's still on? No, she's not there yet.
This one's for you, Matt. Could you read every one of those names very
Yeah,
particularly?
thanks. No, that's not going to happen here. It's on the
Yeah, but thank you for asking.
Yes. We will authorize a budget transfer from the general fund balance to the workers' comp indemnity payments, totaling $127,840. We will authorize a budget transfer from the water fund balance, and Mr. Strauss isn't here, but this is a great lesson on.
Actually, that was
on
the second workers' compensation.
Yeah, no, but this is specifically for the water fund.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
From the water fund balance to the workers' comp indemnity payments of $176,000 and $176,424.30. We will authorize the release of a performance bond for stormwater permit going to Zapico Construction for Orchard View subdivision on Cherry Drive. We will also authorize the comptroller to process a budget transfer for the sewer department of $55,000 going from YS 8130.0101 to YS 8130.0460.0003. We're going to authorize the comptroller to process a budget transfer for the water department. This is a transfer of $5,000 from the Kitchewan Water District fund balance to the water purchases line to cover the remaining invoices for 2021 water purchases. We are going to approve the vehicle use policy, which is required by our insurance company. We are going to authorize the Barton and LaJudas to perform an environmental review for the home and hearth proposed site plan. We will also authorize Barton and LaJudas to perform an environmental review for the proposed cell tower at Granite Springs Road, as well as a proposed cell tower in Jefferson Valley. We will award a bid for the replacement of boilers at Town Hall, the Yorktown Police Department, and the Albert A. Cappellini Community and Cultural Center to Peak Performance and Service, Inc. at a total bid price of $327,500. We will authorize the use of the Albert A. Cappellini Community and Cultural Center by Love Holds Life, Inc. for the use of a toy giveaway and waive the rental fee of $117 and the overtime fee of $225. And we will authorize the comptroller to release a street opening permit in the amount of $7,000 and another street opening permit in the amount of $4,000 to Amawalk Real Estate for work done at 1447 Delaware Road. And we will authorize the comptroller to release street opening permit in the amount of $2,000 to Katucci 14 Inc. for work done at 1715 Strawberry Road. So we'll take those.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we will go back now. And
Don't
we,
mind if I check out at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Magnus.
You
Thank
stay
you.
till the end.
This might be a little lengthy.
You're buying tonight.
Oh, it should. I think we understand, Mr. Patel. So this is, so I want to, Councilman Patel, so this is for the creation of a local history committee and an appointment of a town historian. Not naming not with names. So it's a creation of a committee and a town historian. That's what this resolution does. You want to read it?
I already read it, and I'm not going to vote for this resolution.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes, no.
Mr. Patel
No.
is opposed. We have a motion to appoint Alice E. Roker to serve as the town historian and chair of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You want to take
No.
all of the?
You're voting no to that also?
You want
Okay.
to take all of the
Nope.
appointments?
Nope. We will appoint Paul Martin to serve as a member of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So let me ask you here, are these people were interviewed or anything?
They're volunteering.
Volunteer, yes, but don't we have to interview or no? They are very good people. All of them, I
They
know.
were, they were picked
But this
specifically
was a
for their
discussion that we had in an executive
had this
session
discussion.
together. We had it together in an executive session.
No, you just give it to the piece of paper,
I discussed
but
each and
never
every one of
discuss
these.
the name, each one of them, right?
Each and every one.
No,
we-
you give it to people,
And I'm not
yeah.
going to get into that because
No,
it's
no, that's
closed
okay.
information.
No. Because you cannot discuss in executivations, about the money thing. Okay,
you wanna
that's
vote-
all right.
We
If you
didn't
wanna
discuss,
vote no,
hold
you
on.
can. There's
We
no
did
pressure
not,
here.
we did not discuss any money in closed session. Let's get that straight right now. We did not do that.
Right.
Right. We only we discussed personnel matters and the individual.
So these are for the volunteers on the board.
But this automatically you have chosen the chairman, whether I vote it or not.
If you want to vote no, you can.
Yes, I'm going to vote no.
That's no problem.
They are the best people in the town. They have a volunteer their town for many, many, many years and decades, But I do not agree to have it additional because I value all the people on all the other board. They are doing day and night, decades of work. They should be recognized
Councilman
in a
Patel.
different way.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
And again, there's no pressure. You can vote no. So
No, I'm not.
we have, we have a,
my
did
my
we have a
vote is
motion
no.
and a second?
I have known them. I have
So
worked
we have
them.
a motion
and
and a second on the floor, Mr. Patel, to
Yes.
approve Paul Martin. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Go through all of them, and at the end, just take it in, okay?
No, you
Are
need
you
to vote.
voting yes
We're
or
gonna
no?
go. We're gonna go one by
Gonna go
one.
one
So
by
you're
one?
voting no.
No, I'm gonna vote. I'm not gonna say any.
So negative. We have.
Are you voting nay to
No,
that?
I'm gonna silence. I don't want to vote for
Counsel-
Are
anything.
you have
so
to
you're
vote. You have
recusing
to cast-
yourself? Are you recusing
Abstain,
yourself?
well,
Yeah.
abstain.
I'm recusing, okay?
Okay, abstain, either one. Which one do you want?
No, I don't want to do it.
Are you, so you're abstaining from the vote?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
That's fine.
Put it in writing.
I don't know if you have to put an abstention in writing,
All right.
just a recusal.
Yes, you do.
You do?
Yes, you do.
All right,
Okay.
so
So we'll
So
take
he
them all
abstained
together.
from the vote, that's fine.
So we have a motion to appoint Linda Keeter to serve as a member of the Local History Advisory
so
Committee.
moved.
Give a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained?
How are you
Hey.
voting?
I'm gonna abstain all of them, so you don't have to ask me.
Well, you have to answer
But you have
them.
to
How about,
just answer the question.
the other two board members, another board member, you hear all three of them now? You have three? Okay.
So we have a motion to appoint Bridget Crow to serve as a member of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Excellent.
Any opposed? Any abstained?
Are you abstaining for that?
Excellent, yes, all of them, okay?
And then we have a motion to appoint Christine Sisler to serve as member of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained?
Are you abstaining?
Yes, all of them, okay?
And we have a motion to appoint Adele Hobby to serve as member of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained?
Yes, no, I'm absent, okay?
Okay.
I'm voting no.
No or abstain?
Abstain or no?
I am abstain in all of
Okay,
them.
that's fine.
We have a motion to appoint Yvonne Check to serve as member of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Councilman Patel abstaining.
Yes. I'm
And then we have a
abstaining.
motion to appoint Michael Dabowski to serve as member of the Local History Advisory Committee.
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Councilman Patel abstaining.
Abstain.
We have a motion to appoint Diana L. Quast to serve as the liaison to the Local History
So moved.
Advisory Committee. We have a motion, second, all in favor? Aye.
Hold on. Tom, did you second that?
Absolutely not. Yes, second.
Thank you. Are you abstaining to that?
Okay.
I'm abstaining. No, I'm not.
No, not you.
All right.
Because somebody abstained, you know.
Okay.
It's okay. I don't
And
want
with
to say
that, if there's no other business before the board,
Majority rules.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
all in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
What-
Any,
what
any,
time?
any
Any
abstain?
abstentions?
No, not 50. I gotta
You
go
want to abstain
home.
on that?
No, I gotta go to the bathroom. Come on.
Take care, Yorktown. Have a great
Take care,
night.
Yorktown. Good night, all.
Good night.